the Tainted Voltage, being able to drop them from the ground almost immediately as Nectar's poke pressure is actually building up the Supernova. Sentinels might be able to rally around the pressure that the Torch's ultimate brings.
Might force Crimzo out there. That's so much poke damage from Grotto Stern on to the Thing. However, taking up to the skies, Techie, ready to try and silence a strategist in mid-air. Oh, Techie, I'm afraid you ain't that guy right now, brother, but Amazing might well be. The damage is done. Even through the fate of both worlds, Rad thought they had all the sustainability they needed, but they could not be more wrong.
Yeah, Nectar still holding onto that Supernova too. As we can see, the Tech is taking a little bit of damage just to be able to battery up Kurova, so they've got both of the strategist ultimates. There's the Sonic Seduction, and it catches onto Nectar, but the bubble and the regeneration domain keep the Torch alive. The Emerald's done, and Nectar still has Supernovas to throw.
Inside the invisible boundary is taken down as Crook is focused by both Nectar and the Phoenix in concert towards the back. Melio getting a little bit frisky. There's no regeneration domain that remains, and so Melio is able to pick up Aramori. Naga knows that there is still something lurking in the back. I believe it's a Phoenix back there, which refuses to show their face. Now finally has to try and disengage. Seems to be getting away with absolute murder right here. Naga's trying to shake some down. It's a bait though for Crimzo. Unbelievable bait and switch from Sentinels. It's going to be a bit of a tilter for Naga.
That was the win condition. He had the ultimate that Rad needed for this next fight. Sentinels play it so smart. Now no Kraken impact. You don't even get to utilize the ultimate to break free from the Fisk molding because you have to worry about hitting your head on the ceiling. And Sentinels have so much more space, and that means so much more spam from Nectar.
All right, big stun coming through onto Naga right now. Good focus fire. They send a Phoenix on in after it, but the healing is good from Fate. Just going to float above it all. Impurity, nice dodge! Unbelievable from Naga. And now multiple players afflicted with the Carling debuff and waiting up in the air. Right, Amazing once again pilots it on in. Melio just able to survive this one for now. Rad just keep it on a dime.
Rad still have that invis boundary. They're going to have Sonic Seduction as well. Sentinels know that their ultimate economy is against them. Naga's going to be onto that Punisher just to have the blitz damage. Crimzo on this thing is just a pin cushion, but you also bring Hitscan to the table, which can melt down Nectar if he's playing a little bit too aggro, and that means that Rad gets to move forward, finally surging around second con of Sonic Seduction.
14 seconds remain. Multiple players mind controlled for a moment. Trust me, shield barely lasts a moment. Melio taken up by Crimzo from downtown. The embattled leap takes them directly where they need to be, and that's going to be Supernova projectiles grabbed on up, stunned too by Crimzo. The clobbering time is declared, but is it time for dinner as Nectar tries to burn on through them, and he burns through Fate. Naga's returned, yes, but level 1 Crook's going to be the only healing that's available for Rad, and standing up against the Sentinel's damage is far from guaranteed. A return of the Doctor Strange, and he's going to be checking in for an appointment here. He's going to stand alone for a moment. There's not going to be enough healing really to try and sustain him. Dragged on in and turned around, absolutely tossed around like a ragdoll. Rad, they're going to have so much trouble getting through the portal as Thing stands in the way, and the wall of the Sentinels remains impenetrable.
Nectar on that torch on third was just so impossible for Rad to be able to deal with. The peel from Sentinels. When they come through with that Sonic Seduction in Nectar's ultimate, I'm like, for sure that torch is cooked. Yeah. But it turns out that Rad are the ones that get smoked instead. What a bubble. The Bulwark from Techie, the regeneration domain 2 from Aramori, and Nectar just flying perfectly height level for the regeneration domain crystals to apply to him so that it's not too high. What a sync, because they knew that that would be the counter. The second Supernova got pulled, they knew Sonic Seduction was coming secondly.
Yeah, great fight read there coming through from the side of Sentinels. Still, this is far from lost for the side of Rad. They've got a reasonable distance, and we have seen all manner of holds on Midtown Mox, be it first, second, or so early on third.
Is this what we get to see the spawn hold?
Might be.
Is this where we see the spawn hold?
You know that Rymazing loves that Moon Knight.
We do know that Rymazing does love that Moon Knight, and I mean, Crimson's already been playing the Groot too, so I feel like if you're Rad, you're wanting to stay clear away from it, because you do run the risk, if you go for the spawn hold, of being stuck on a bad composition for 2 other fights on first.
Not something you really want to play with here. Crimso's going to roll out on the Groot just in case.
Does he stick with it? Is the question. I mean, you've got good synergy with both your Phoenix and your Torch, but no. it's going to be the thing that comes on through. So damage reduction too, just to give Sentinels that extra little bit of confidence to be able to move forward into this brawl stage of the fight.
He's going to be good at shutting down, trust me, but it's going to be catching a lot of poke from the Phoenix Psylocke duo. Survivability might be an issue, but you can also say that it's going to charge up those strategist ultimates before you even know it. Melio, a little bit of a fumble there, unable to convert onto Nectar.
Oh, it is the Groot. So he gave the damage reduction, then swaps off to the Groot to try and find wall isolations onto Rad, whose players are being split handily by Sentinels, having 2 flyers, which means that they have multiple lane controls on both the left and right, and now main because of the Groot pushing the brawl.
Melio's half back here as well. Nectar continuously peppering them and just has essentially unlimited healing from his Guardian Shield that can't be dealt with easily by Melio.
Melio's stuck.
Oh, this is like a hostage situation. Hold up! You're not.
Never mind.
I'm not stuck in here with you.
Nobody puts Melio in a corner. And yeah, that is Psylocke getting out. Scot-free for that one, especially because we have Idol Aura from Fate. And you know what? Fate's gonna get a better bargain. Right, Amazing falls too.
All right, Melio still working round the back. Techie tries to press on forward. That's going to be the Phoenix ult coming on up almost directly on top of the Magneto. Metallic Bulwark managed to block up most of the damage. Trust me, still delivers a Sentinel strike to the heart when it's needed to finish this one off for Rad. And despite giving up some space, they hold strong.
Dance of the Butterflies can be used in tandem with Psionic Seduction to just silence Aramori's ability to save the team, but those regeneration domains, you have to worry about them. Nectar too is going to be able to scout out. Trust me, they know that Freedom Charge is going to be up for that Captain America. They do not want another sustain ultimate to let Rad live them longer.
All right, preemptive copy here with the God of Mischief coming through from Aramori to make sure that it cannot be shut down. That forces out the invisible boundary. Trust me, just disengages. Waits for this one to finish. Might well be down to the second invisible boundary, but Kurova's still a little bit shy of this one. Ready to go forth with the Dance of the Butterflies, waiting for the rest of Rad to move on forward. Forced to disengage. Here it comes. The Dance of the Butterflies. So many players stacked on up. They democratize the damage, but Melio still manages to strike at the heart when it's needed. Unbelievable focus fire coming through from Rad and send it down to 130.
Yeah, perfect timing too. Melio commits the ultimate as Kurova gets invisible boundary, and one of the first to fall is the Invis Woman. Sentinels, though, will have really good ultimates coming into this next fight. That Strangling Prison and Supernova can punch damage through both the Invis Boundary and that Luna Dance of Fate of Both Worlds, regardless of which strategist decides to commit their ult.
Nectar has learned to respect Melio in a small room. We will not be taking that adventure again. And now with a Supernova active, maybe Melio can try and wrap in from behind inside of the invisible boundary. They're stacked up on top of each other. It's a Venn diagram of destruction here as Nectar rises up with all of the damage. In comes the first Phoenix for second, waits imperiously above as Naga comes on down, find themselves caught within the Strangling Prison laid down by Crimso. Good breaking of the Thornlash walls behind. There isn't enough damage to burst on through. Next to been taken down here, up close and personal together. This is where the Phoenix is at her best. Trust me's coming in with the melee. Sentinel strikes inside of the invisible boundary. The healing's good to keep Sentinels in this for now. And Naga is dragged back in with a force physics. And now it has to be Kurova who's under siege. Metallic Bulwark has to be given on over. Guess who's going to be mind controlled? It's everyone on Sentinels. Rajaro's able to line him on up and maybe knock them down. It's going to be Melio who does the first bit of knocking right here. And knocking on the door comes the Diamond Form. Emma going for a grab and a nice spinning kick too. But Techie's still there to try and clinch this one back. And level 1 Crook is caught out of position. There's going to be one last fight.
One last fight, potentially two. Rad haven't Strange Portaled yet. They could Strange Portal now and go for another one just before the point moves on, but no, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be swapping onto the Strange. They trust that they're going to be able to tap the cap onto it instead. Nectar onto the Winter Soldier, might be able to come through with the Bionic Hook and stop them from touching.
Oh, great Aegis there coming through from Rajaro. Heard the charging of the Bionic Hook, was able to try and stop it in its tracks. Just a little bit of pausing here and there to give time for Melio to set up on the off angle with the Dance of the Butterflies. Kurova, it's going to be all about the usage of this invisible boundary right here. They try to get away with only using the regeneration domains. They're broken on through. The Phoenix ult on top. That forces Kurova to use it, but remember that it's away from the cart for now. And the invisible boundary of Rad is better. It's down on the cart. They couldn't see where everyone was. And when the invisible boundary goes up, so too do the hopes and dreams of Sentinels go down.
Oh, shades of Eldritch Monument there. At the end of that round, it felt like, where they just, again, have so much pressure on the objective that Sentinels are forced to take a big step backwards at the time that Sentinels need to be consolidating their position. But they had to respect the ultimates that Rad were coming in with. They knew that they had to just deal with that Psylocke ultimate coming on through. Like you said, they tried to go for the budget solution of the regeneration domain because they knew they had to outlast everything that came afterwards. You're going up against essentially 3 strategist ultimates when you have that Captain America in play, right? As opposed to you've got to then stretch invisible boundary and regeneration domain. Mr. Fantastic tends to be the one who stretches normally in Fantastic Four, but unfortunately when you're coming in with that composition, you gotta make Mrs. Fantastic's ultimate work just as hard. And Rad just took full advantage of that. Distracted, forced Sentinels into the sidelines, and then when they needed to be on the objective, no one was touching, and map just ends.
And now we're forced to think, what adaptation the Sentinels need to make towards this band structure? Because they haven't really made an adaptation that saves their strategists just yet.
Yeah.
And Rad, they're just going to keep running down the, you know what, no strategist for you, until it's forced off of them.
I mean, it was Rocket. It was Rocket. That was how Citadel beat Rad going after strategists.
Yeah.
This heavily. It was a Rocket Raccoon. And they literally, so the strategy for Citadel, unfortunately, is very specific to Citadel because they had Tanuki on the Black Panther and they put Ken on the Rocket and they literally sent Tanuki in. They said, burn every single one of your cooldowns, going in, getting a pick. You're not getting out. It's okay. We'll bring you back with Rocket out. See ya. And then everybody came on through, and they literally just revived him, I think, 9 times with the P right back on Midtown. And that was the way that Citadel were able to dodge the strategist chase down, because it is just an absolute strike against this role that Sentinels are being put under. So we're going to have to see a pivot.
Maybe it has to be a Luna save. Or a Cloak and Dagger save, potentially,
yeah.
early on. I don't know if the Loki is working as well for me. Even if regeneration domain's good and the Loki output is strong, it feels like there's constantly these, there's the double-edged swords of these doppelgangers. We saw Trust Me able to get so much charge off of them for free. You can get rage off of them as Wolverine.
Yeah.
Life Spores coming up as well. And you just have to kind of... to do the double invisible boundary as well, which is unideal when it comes to the power spikes in this game that are strategist ultimates.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many things which can grab you out of an invis boundary. Like, one of the best things for an invisible woman to do when invis boundary is in play and there are one-shots in the game is not actually being your ultimate. Which is crazy because then you're not getting those heals. So you then become even more vulnerable and targetable and everyone just shreds you down and they're like, well, why did you go down when your ultimate was in play? Because you can't play inside it. It's really unfortunate. One of the things that is the reason why Invisible Woman's ultimate is not as good in comparison to some of the other strategists is that just her base kit is incredibly strong. Force Physics is one of the best cooldowns in the game. I think in terms of strategist kit, it's definitely up there with Regeneration Domain and also Idle Aura. For the Lunar Snow, Force Physics being able to just grab people in rather than push them back so that your team can set up a CC chain is huge, but we're not really getting to see those plays. I think if they really try to like play into the CC chain where you have Force Physics grabs in, then you Groot walls and you find an isolation, or you run, you know, the torch potentially to just pyro prison someone when they're stuck in that space too.
Phoenix right click.
Yeah, Phoenix right click, and you all set up all of those players to hit at the same time. It would have found more value, but the thing was that Rad was so good at pulling attention into all of these different pockets of fights that no one from Sentinels really felt like they were able to fight off of each other.
All right, let's have a quick look at our stats here. Nectar definitely standing apart from the remainder of the team here with 11 final hits, but on the other side, Melio. Looks like we've got a little bit of a tighter cluster fate coming away with 7 final hits. As Luna is not to be sniffed at either.
Yeah, I mean, trust me as well, being able to block 41,000 damage on the Captain America. So that Rad can literally just choose wherever they want to fight. Even when sometimes they were going in, taking fights against and losing those 1v1s, it was still stalling time. So that when they wanted to go for the full regroup, and they could regroup much faster with the Captain America and the Psylocke coming into play, then they could always fight on objective where they wanted to.
Oh, the deja vu continues, Mox. Hopefully it's not a full repeat. Come on, the NBA. Come on.
True. We have indeed been here before, as Fade is going to be picking up that MVP on the Lunar Snow with 45,323 total healing done on that map of Mid-10. Crucially as well, 7 final hits
Wow, that's like half of his total KO.
Yeah, that's a very bloodthirsty Luna Snow.
There's nothing to be sniffed at either.
Yeah.
Like, Fate's a great mechanical player. Didn't quite reach the heights that he wanted in previous esports titles in the hero shooter genre. Kind of was stuck in like the tier 4 space. But Fate grinded early in Marvel Rivals. Really did a good job of establishing himself in this scene and having the leadership to try and put together a team. I believe Fate's actually the team captain.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's the team captain. He's very, very good too at looking at a lot of the other regions and seeing what they play.
Yeah.
So they're always very keyed in to the different region matters, and it doesn't surprise me that they're the ones taking advantage of the Mantis because of this.
Yeah, very smart gamer, and really has done plenty for Rad, who like there's a lot of like esports pedigree on this team, and then there's Fate, who kind of put it all together, and it's kind of a brain man behind a lot of it.
Well, we can have a look at our replays here. Sentinels starting on the defense. It looked strong. It looked really, really good. There were some amazing fights that they had with just the clobbering times coming on through, putting pressure onto Rad's players. The last stands as well, just grabbing them out of the invisible boundaries. And third, Nectar on the Human Torch looking absolutely unstoppable. But it just fell apart when they went over to the attack.
Yeah, showing exactly why Human Torch is usually first banned in these compositions, but, well, Rad, they have their strategy and they're sticking to it. This was super impressive by Melio. The entire time was at half HP. Kind of pants next to there, unfortunately. Who did have the team up as well from the Invisible Woman, but wasn't quite enough. You don't go close to the Psylocke in those small rooms. It's never really a good idea.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you have that ultimate in play too. Multiple people just going to be hit by so many of those dashes, and if one person falls, everyone else then loses another extra body to be able to absorb the damage, and you're just going to lose players again and again and again. Even before we have something like a Kraken Impact coming on through. But for Sentinels, they can still turn this series around. We've seen Convoy, we've seen Domination, that therefore means that we have to go to Convergence. Which map do you want to take us to, though? Because I feel like Hall of Djalia, if you want the res comp, would be a good shout, but I don't think they're going to have access to the res comp, so I would try and avoid that map, because that's definitely one of Rad's better.
Yeah, maybe you could do like a strange TP play to open up on something like Symbolic Surface here. Set up like a Punisher turret or something and try and get a crunch going on.
Yeah, maybe. True.
But I don't know if they're going to save for Loki first again.
I don't know if
they're going to save for Loki first, you can get some value out of it on Hall of Djalia, where there's a lot of like rooftops where you can put those doppelgangers. But do you want to like fashion your map choice after like the strategist you're saving?
I mean, it is good for Torch, I will say. It is a very good map for Torch, especially like first point on Hall of Djalia. There is a lot of roof that you can hide if you're on the Eat attack.
Yeah.
So that you can literally just keep up pressure on the opposing high ground that the defenders tend to, yeah, very good pathing, very good options. And a lot of these teams too don't really like going for the strange TP immediately. And oh, do you know what? Central Park's actually probably a better shout because that's a much better map for Flyers. So.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it worked as the turnaround for Envy.
True, and it's very, very strong for dive components, res components, flyer components. So it definitely feels like of a lot of the compositions that we see in Marvel Rivals, in terms of comps that you have to ban out, is one of the more versatile.
Yeah, this one definitely has a lot of options. We've seen players take advantage of that extra window on the side of point A as well. Some melee characters, maybe someone like we saw Iron Fist from Tanuki, which I still don't approve of. But you know what? It's not my decision. The Black Panther can take that as well.
To get the Harry stamp of approval.
Yeah, this is not like they approve. Gonna head into our ban soon once again, and we'll have to see. Well, Rad are probably just gonna keep doing the strategist onslaught until it's proven that it's no longer working.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Especially when it comes to those ban drafts, because I mean, so much of this game is determined in the draft phase. It's why it's so important that you do your scouting of your enemy teams correctly, because you don't want to waste those bans, because they're definitely going to be targeting you.
The research was done yesterday. We were next to on XR, watching the research in real time. But for now, it seems like attempting to hamstring Rad has led to some over-focus on the bans. Maybe not enough into the protects here. I'm personally hoping we see a pivot to maybe a Luna or a Cloak and Dagger protect.
Yeah, I think Cloak and Dagger would be a really good one. Just because Terror Cape and also Eternal Bond is such a good ultimate. It kind of forces as well Rad to have something like a Wolverine or a Winter Soldier in play that or a one-shot
Yeah.
to just stop the Cloak and Dagger entirely.
Yeah, the Magneto may be on the cards as well. We've seen a lot of, we've seen a really big change in the zeitgeist of bans since stage 1, where it used to be
Vanguard.
Emma and Mag were like the #1 priority for bans, and like when one got banned, the other would get saved. Not so much the case anymore. Let's get stuck in, Mox. First ban's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, Magneto was definitely a must, especially when Punisher was in place, since Final Judgment did tend to be a reaction check against Meteor M. And Psionic Seduction is an incredibly strong ultimate, both when you're holding space and also trying to take it. As we can see those bans coming in through, and yeah, Sentinels again going to be going after the Mantis. This time though, Rad going to be going after the Torch. So they see Central Park, they know how strong a map it is for Flyers, and they're going to be removing that one from play. The Sentinel's going to be removing the Luna Stone and the Mantis, and oh, there we go, not a Loki save this time around. It is going to be a Luna, so potentially things like a Psylocke being able to make it all the way around the side of that point will now be buoyed up by the heal, even out of the backline's LOS.
Love this pivot here. Going to see Luna protected. That gradient of Luna going to be met with a Magneto ban here. And it seems like we're pivoting into a Vanguard on slot.
I was going to say, I feel like we talked this into existence. We were just commenting a lack of Vanguard bans, and now it's going to be coming on through. As is it going to be one-sided Magneto into one-sided Emma? Is the script flipped? Because normally, Emma is the one that EMEA prefer, and Magneto is the one that NA prefer.
Absolutely right. I wonder if we see Groot as a final ban as well. Oh no, Loki's gonna. Yeah, you got to avoid the double fate of both worlds. That is just that's a non-starter when it comes to enemy compositions. The last protect here, I would imagine, goes to Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, do you know what they're doing? They're going after Crimzo's hero pool to force him onto the Groot.
Oh, and then they can force out Wolverine as the last ban.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not going to protect Cloak and Dagger. Okay.
Yeah, so now Sentinels have a choice. Do you make Crimzo's life easier, or do you try and take a strategist out of play?
These are the questions, and you can see that there's a little bit of deliberation happening at the moment.
Torch.
They don't want to deal with the uneven Torch. Okay. This is going to mean that Naga's likely going to be over on the Wolverine.
Yep, and that means that Crimzo is definitely going to be having an interesting time of it on the Groot. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that's going to pay off dividends, as it definitely feels like Rad were properly targeting now, taking a page from 100 Thieves' book when it came to trying to deal with Sentinels.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to try and create a 5v6 out of a hero pool. And maybe that's enough to win, but I love a change up here from Sen. I think it's very well considered. Keeping that Luna in, super important. And they've been able to get away scot-free with the Cloak and Dagger, so they can play Envy style.
You know what? Sentinels also finally able to make Mantis for the ban. So maybe we see triple come through. Maybe we get res comp. And maybe that's the answer, so that even if a Wolverine comes through, one, you have cloak pressure with an Atom, so passive should be forced almost immediately, even before he's able to engage onto your team. And you also have Soulborn, so you should be able to survive last stand.
Oh, Soulborn's certainly useful for that. Let's head in to Rad on match point here. North America's #1 seed need to do yet another reverse sweep.
Well, there it is. It is indeed Kurova and Raimazing and Nectar all on the Guardians. They don't have the Magneto though. So no good bubble spin engagement coming on through from Nectar, and Crimson also going to be forced onto the Thing in anticipation of the Wolverine from Rad's end.
All right, on the other side, going to be double usage of the Eternal Bond for Rad. Plenty of staying power. Nectar grabbed out of mid. That is uncanny. Unbelievable play there from Naga. And instantly going to be shot on down here by the Yancy Street Charge, shutting down all those movement abilities. Nectar has to raise themselves using that Cocoon Revival given over by the Atom. Soon to be gone. They're caught in the corner. This is where the Phoenix is just going to be able to do so much damage, and Crooks pumping it into magic missiles from the hideous staff of Asgard. Manages to rack on through. Crimson's going to be the next to fall. Raimazing's able to raise themselves as well off the back of the Cocoon Revival, but Kurova can't stick around for too long either. The Resurrection doesn't get too much, as Trust Me finds the final hits, and we're halfway already to a capture.
Techie's gonna try. They've got him on the Doctor Strange. We might have a portal recontest. They're through. Nectar's already down. The Strangling Prison manages to catch on to the Vanguards, and they managed to find Kurova too.
Oh, it's just that Shrimple right now, and it's just Krill everywhere. as Rad gather first with such intent. They still have 4 ultimates,
Yeah, they've got
almost
so
5.
many ults.
This
There's
is
no
ridiculous.
one-shots on the side of Sentinels too. Kurova is going to be close to a Karmic Revival fight, but you're not quite there yet. So you're still waiting too for some of your players who came a little bit later, which means Rad get all of the estate to move up and take this high ground, which then puts Nectar into reach of the Wolverine, and it deposits them right next to Trust Me on that Groot.
Generational Wolverine gameplay right now being shown by Naga, and still has the last stand in the back. Has already opened up with it, forces out the burst heal from Rymazing, heads in towards the back, still gets himself a stun. Clobbering time, I believe stuns 5 there, huge from Crimzo, but Rad up all the staying power they need thanks to the Eternal Bond. Now it's Melee moving on forward, guess what, it's Fate with a triple! Oh my goodness, the Dark Force claims them! Introduced to the Dark Dimension, and Fate is quite the welcoming host.
Sentinels will have an invisible boundary, but they're just off of the res comp. They've seen that it's not going to be able to work. Rymazing's going to be swapping now onto the Phoenix next to the Psylocke. You've got to try and put all of your hopes on holding this off of a really slow heal per second. And Rad have the Eternal Bomb to shut Invisible Boundary down. If it can even come on through, there it is. But Naga just keeps the rage going. And that Terror Kick means the Sentinels get 0 heals per second.
All right, Invisible Boundary is already over here. Naga continues to cleave through again and again, caught in place by the Strangling Prison. Naga now with only a little bit of HP remaining. It's the last chance saloon coming through from a Psylocke, and it's going to be a dodge aside right there from the Phoenix, allowing for everyone else to tank the incoming damage. A turnaround onto Rymazing. Trust me, still here trying to battle it on out, and they're going to be sustained here on the side of the defense thanks to the Fate of Both Worlds channeled by Kurova. Sentinels hold strong finally.
Yeah, good damage amp as well from Kurova, just turning it as Techie's able to find the Carbon Crush into kick onto Rad's players. Fate's onto the Jeff.
Okay.
We're going for, Speed Bubble out to get everyone from spawn a little bit faster. They know that they have an opening right now. Sentinels invested a lot of ultimates in the last fight. They've only got Psionic Seduction. So they're going to go for a map flip to force Techie into having to utilize Psionic Seduction, which Rad can just live through with the God of Mischief coming out immediately.
All right, Eternal Bond ready to go at a moment's notice already. That's going to be a Sonic Seduction. Techie taken down, was a little bit too far forward. The Spore Bomb from Trust Me. Oh, and it's frag after frag being delivered here. And guess what? Level 1 Crook has learned from Fate that aggression. Sometimes the best way to be the Cloak and Dagger. So far away from the objective are Sentinels. Even if they had surviving members, they wouldn't be able to contest this. 4 minutes for last.
What a map flip from Rad, just forcing Sentinel's hand. They had to keep their armor on objective, otherwise Rad would have got it to second for free. And that meant that Techie was, like you said, a little bit too far forward, within reach of not just the Loki's copied Eternal Bond, but the actual Cloak and Dagger's Terror Cape too. So that Sonic Seduction is up for a matter of seconds, as Rad now have snowball potential. Last stand in place. Sentinels have to know that the Wolverine ultimate is a danger, and they need to clear that top left.
Needs to be cleared, but Rajara right now is demanding attention, rolling on forward, staying in the air. Melia ready to drop down with the Phoenix as everything is taken away in mid-air, and then Naga delivers the final blow to Rymazing and Aramori, and the rest is simple, elementary cleanup for the side of Rad. Sentinels are wiped from the board, and they'll get one last chance.
One last chance, potentially. If they win this fight, they can start coming back into this map. Question is, do they have the opportunity? Trust Me's coming back on the cap to come through a little bit faster. Level 1 Crook just getting a little bit of poke to have the God of Mischief. We've got a fastball special on the field. Connect to find a home run.
Nectar takes to the skies, manages to get the Feral Leap exactly when it's needed. No disengage available thanks to the anti-street charge. Nectar has to move away right now. Has the last stand ready to go with the Terror Cape combined. The damage is too much to bear. While Rad may have had momentum on their side, Sentinels had pure force of will on theirs.
Rad just throw themselves off of the map to get a little bit faster of a regroup and also prevent Sentinels from staggering them for 30 seconds. Last stand can be combined with Psionic Seduction, but Sentinels would bring their entire ultimate economy. If so, Naga is going to go over to the Winter Soldier, the Bionic Hook, to be able to keep check on both the Phoenix and the Wolverine, as well as just punch through Crimson with all of the damages from the Rotterstone. And Techie is already down!
Oh, shades of a final fight of second once again. Bionic Cook charged up for a moment. A quick visit to the Dark Force Dimension. Melio has the Phoenix ready to go, and a couple of fully marked players. The prep work is being done for the moment, but at the moment it's all about the pressure going elsewhere. Catching someone out, but goes too far. Gets caught up by Nectar and Crimzo, who melee forth in concert. The Eternal Bond is now the last note for Sentinels to sustain themselves.
The hook! He finds the hook! He doesn't manage to find it, though. Aramori is able to keep herself in the Eternal Bond. What a grab! What a cancel!
An attempt to turn it around, but Ryan Mason gets it done in his own right. Fate and Naga both fall. And Sentinels, they have finally found their rhythm. They found their tempo. I don't know if they were rushing or if they were dragging, but right now they are standing firm.
Techie isn't going to overextend this time around, just pushes forward to keep up some of this charge, as well as give Crimzo an opening to get close for the Yancy Street charge to get out. He's got the clobbering time. Level 1 Crook gets hit by it. Even through the God of Mischief, they're able to find the copy onto the Cloak and Dagger, though. And Rad get the red carpet rolled out. Eternal Bond is safe as we see another clobbering time.
Melio comes in from above using the Phoenix Strike, unable to find any final hits. However, Rajaro taken off the side by Nectar. Great usage there of the Feral Leap to make sure that there's no recovery available for that Magneto.
Fate's gonna have the actual Eternal Bond. Nectar getting into position to nab someone. They know that Rad, when they run out of time, they lose the luxury of clearing the angles. Trust me on the Captain America is going to divert the attention. Sentinels having to deal with the Captain America frees up the rest of the team to walk forward.
All right, Trust Me continues to take all of this attention, including Nectar's. Do not want to be grabbed off of the side again. You can see Rajaro is so afraid of that. Will it happen again is the question. Seems like Faze used the Eternal Bond to save everybody here. An attempt at a one-shot Naga taken down by Aramori's Eternal Bond. And that means no Kraken impact is going to be available. A last chance saloon for Rad. It seemed like they had it in the bag, but Sentinels, they have found it within them to hold strong. And they have found it within them to scare Rad off the point. A 4-minute hold.
Nectar swapping to the Wolverine.
Woo.
Being able to come on through with those environmentals. The convoy stopped as well in such an awkward position where it's literally just right on that ramp and you have to walk past. So much drop-off potential when Sentinels can just kick you, can wolf nab you. There's so much that Rad have to contest with, but they got it a heck of a long way through Central Park. Can they complete the full hold? What do we see? Because Sentinels, they need this round to continue the series.
Yeah. They need to rescue themselves. Got to dig themselves out of this hole that they put themselves in. And it seems that once again, we're likely to see that Wolverine continue to be an issue. Naga had a generational beginning, but fighting uphill is unideal for a Wolverine when all of your approaches can be marked. Momentum was what Rad needed. And when they managed to fumble one momentum fight, that's all that it took for Sentinels to get back into a dominating position.
Yeah, I mean, Sentinel started off on the res comp, got a little bit burned on it, and I think getting burned on res comp was probably the best thing that happened to them. Because that Wolverine swap was absolutely huge. Do we see them try to go for something? Now that they're on the attack, they could go for a strange teleport with Penny Mines, but I think they're going to hold off on it just in case they start losing players on the actual brawl fight of the point itself, and they want that strange portal to be able to call in the recontests. As we can see, Rad gonna have access to that one too, as Fate is on the jab. He's all the way behind them, right on their spawn doors. They haven't cleared out any of these dive components. He's gonna be hitting in an entirely unexpected position.
Okay, big crunch coming through, but level 1 Crook, what were you doing to be in a position where the Emma could find you so early? Nectar's just been waiting. Nectar was feasting, but Trust was feasting even more. The Feast of the Abyss. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet, and well, Rad, they're digging in.
That is 2 picks with Joyful Splash from Fate's side. By the way, Jeff Strats, they never fail to put a smile on my face. Look at the positioning too, right now. They're all the way up on the rooftop. They're gonna wait for Sentinels to walk past. Have they cleared the Jeff? Do they know that he's that? I don't think they do.
I don't know. Take a look at how Fate plays Jeff as well. Such a high APM game, and just make sure there's always something that's being done at all moments. Keep the Vanguard healed up over here. The Phoenix is in deep trouble. Needs to be saved. Rajara does not want to invest their strike for the moment. Instead, just continuing to take up all of this space and just keep Sentinels penned in. They're in a box box.
Yeah, and I mean, Sentinels, they try to go into one of those rooms where the dive couldn't follow them, but the Ultron can still damage. Fate will go down, but Rad still have the ultimates to fall back into. And Melio just has to be careful he doesn't overextend. Jeff's going to be back in a matter of moments too with those speed bubbles coming on through. So Sentinels don't even get to push 5v6.
Naga's going to try and open this one up in their own right, force out the Eternal Bond. And now Fate's going to try and eat up all of those who are trying to stick within it, I imagine. It's Jeff grabs one, that's going to be Valuna. Off the map, I'm sure she'll go, but no, unable to split them out in time. Instead, she's going to be deposited right where the Jeff fell. Right Amazing just sticks close to Valuna. The safety given over means that it's easy for Right Amazing to chill out and chill max.
Strange Portal's gonna come back though. Fate's on the Doctor Strange. Rad aren't giving up this one, especially with level 1 Crook on that Loki. You've got regeneration domain to keep everybody alive through it. But no! He gets picked by Techie!
Oh, level 1 Crook going down early could be brutal. And you can see the clobbering time is available to begin with. Rajara's already fallen on down. The fastball special good to go. Get after that Ultron! And indeed they will. What an impact from Nectar combined with Crimzo. Oh, Coach Crimzo setting up everyone else for success. A Feast of the Abyss in the back for all the reward for the pain that was given is even more delivered by Adamantium Claws sliced and diced into tenderloin steaks of Clintar. Nectar is an absolute menace, a monster that needs to be dealt with. Still, Sentinels have not managed to capture anything here, but they have at least continued to grab these frags all in onto level 1 Crook yet again. Fate's nowhere to be seen, and Rad are just being, they're gone, reduced to atoms, Mox.
Yeah, Sentinels, they find the frags late, but they're able to find it onto Starlord, crucially. Naga, so close to Galactic Legend. If he'd been able to hit Galactic Legend before Sentinels had defensives to be able to see it through, Rad might have been able to grab that one back into their control. But Sentinels will be able to pick up first and move forward, claiming possession of that second corner. So now Rad, they're going to have to organize past the Wolverine into these dive targets, but unfortunately that leaves them grabbable, and Aramori finds the Jeff.
Okay, 2 frags already found by Rad though, and it's level 1 Crook in the back once again on this weird off angle with Veloki. Punished by it thanks to the Sonic Seduction. And hello, we're going to see the investment here of the Rage of Ultron. That's actually going to force out Kurova's own usage of the ultimate. Many players grabbed on out of this one. They want Kurova super bad, but Naga knows it's better. Maybe discretion's the better part of Valor when you've got so little HP against the respawns of Sentinels. Out comes the Galactic Legend. Naga's seen the writing on the wall, knows exactly where to go, forces out the Eternal Bomb. And now for Rad, it's a disengagement game. And oh, that's scary, Mox.
Oh, Naga's trying not to get staggered. Right Amazing's chasing, looking for any potential pick. Rad are going to howl. Nectar. He's so clean with those grabs. Rad have an opening too. Fate can come through and it's Jeff, but crucially you have to worry about Sentinels lacking in defensive. It's the Phoenix dot instead. No defensive, just get offensive. The best defense is a good offense, and Sentinels show off in style.
Alright, playing within the regeneration of Amos, taken away real quick. Once again, Eternal Bomb going to be grabbed on up here by level 1 Crook. Sentinels yet to lose a member though, so this is under-resourced if ever I saw it. Rolling on board, they want Aramori super bad, but Crimson delivers the embattled leak to make sure that there's damage reduction. A quick clobbering time here, stuns everyone up, and Aramori's there with a follow-up. Nectar stays above, floats imperiously above it all. 2 players grabbed up here by Fate, should be easy to spit them out. Does not want to spit out Rajara this time, and it's off the edge. No second chances, no resurrections, and no mercy from the Jeff. Still, Sentinels believe it to be winnable. They have 4 players to go with here, and an Eternal Bond as well.
They double strategy assaulted! Kurova and Aramori both overlap ults in one fight, and Radno get an opening. Melio gets entirely undefended Rage of Ultron!
Oh, and Kurova's the first to be a victim of it. Up in the air hangs the Phoenix, but I'm afraid it might already be said and done. So many members of Sentinels have fallen on down. 50 seconds remain. They have to call this one early as Trust Me gets corrosive pickup after corrosive pickup.
They're not going to have a defensive for Galactic Legend. There's one more fight properly coming on through. Sentinels have 40 seconds left. They can't even utilize Sonic Seduction trying to open the space. Rada playing so far forward, they're trying to force Techie so they can just disengage and hold on to ultimate economy of their own. As Fate is just playing havoc. The jump onto the Emma, they're trying to force Sentinels to utilize that one ultimate, and if they don't hold on to it, Naga's just gonna go in with his.
Oh, the Mighty Legend doesn't get too much off the back of this one. Could instantly be seduced. Manages to get behind the roof just in time. Techie claims the space on the point. The backline's still under siege. Rad, they're doing everything in their power to try and make sure this backline just continually feels uncomfortable. The Aramori tries to rescue them. In comes its Chef. 2 players grab. Rajara needs to be left on the point at the moment. He's going to be able to potentially move over off to the side. He's going to try their best to get down to the crit box. And indeed they will. Level 1 crit backs off. More members of Sentinels have fallen on down, but Nectar's still here with full charge and a dream. A freedom charge is declared by Rajaro. If that's going to be a clobbering time going on to 2. Just move the Feast of the Abyss in towards the back. The Rage of Ultron from above. And boy, does he have a great shooting gallery to try and play with. It's Melio all the time. The Rage of Ultron. It's a siren song in the night. The overtime can't make it through. The body block is good. And Rad have done it. They slain the #1 seed from North America.
Twice now we get to see clutch It's Jeff ultimates coming out from Fate. This time in part due to level 1 Crook literally ferrying that Jeff with the Luna copied by the God of Mischief. So the Fate of both worlds keeps Fate alive the entire time as he brings 2 crucial members from Sentinel's composition over and off the map so that they can have the numbers advantage, so that they can have the ultimate advantage. And I mean, things fell apart. Sentinels, there was a little bit of miscommunication, it feels, when we saw both the Luna and the Cloak and Dagger use their ultimates at the same time. It really did feel like the writing was on the wall, that Rad knew we might lose this fight, but there's another one afterwards, and we're going to have the better of that one, where we'll be able to win it instead.
When the bright light shine in your face, Mox, mistakes are bound to happen. Despite playing together for so long on this Sentinels team, only Crimzo really has that long-term LAN experience. Everyone else is fairly new to LAN itself, despite their previous accomplishments. And when you're the #1 seed, when you got a big org like Sentinels behind you, when you got your CEO in the crowd, the pressure starts to build.
And I mean, everyone's looking at you too, is the thing for Sentinels. Like, everyone looked at Virtus Pro in EMEA, so everyone started counter-stratting them, and we can kind of see something similar has developed here, where I think a lot of people were coming into this thinking Sentinels are going to be the team to beat, so they worked incredibly hard to be able to look at how Sentinels played, the compositions that they played, and how they would be able to target them both in maps and out of them.
Yeah, still Sentinels run isn't over. We are in double elimination, so it's the lower bracket for them alongside Citadel, but a moment to celebrate Rad right here. What a performance. Coming out second from our play-ins after getting pretty thoroughly trounced by Envy. I mean, it could have gone either way. The whole of Jolly was bloody close. But Rad, they really look like themselves today. Their strategies have really come into their own.
I mean, fade on that, Jeff. I wish we could listen to comms on Central Park just when Fate's behind their spawn. Yeah. It's like, hey guys, I got eyes on you. just go
I'm harassing. I'm harassing.
Like, it's insane. And they punished as well. Sentinels are known for holding their ultimates. Yeah. Like, they're very, very good at holding their strategist ultimates, not having them forced. And it feels like Rad banked on that. Because a lot of the time when they knew that Sentinels would be holding onto an ultimate, like Sonic Seduction, right, in one of those later fights where we're on second and it's like, okay, they're going to be trying to force out that Sonic Seduction. If Sonic Seduction comes on through, they're going to disengage. And then they go into that game of Ultimate Chicken, they see that Techie's not going to rise to it, and they're like, if you're not going to ultimate, we're going to ult, we'll use Galactic Legend, we'll get a pick, then you're going to be forced to use your ultimate so that you stop any momentum that we're taking, and then we can disengage. And that's exactly what ended up happening, and they had such a good read of when Sentinels would be forced to invest something, when unfortunately by holding onto it a little bit longer than they could have desired, they already lost the fight.
Yeah, you know what? To continue shouting out Fate, no teammates spit off the map today. Don't have to hear Miller go, no, Fate, spit me out, no, not there, Fate, no!
Yeah, it is very, I find it so ironic that Adam Warlock, like one of the most canonically mobile characters in the comics, it's probably one of the least mobile in the game, but they had to find a way to keep him balanced somehow.
Yeah, he's just having a good jog around, he's getting his steps in, you know? Got to keep fit in this world of Marvel Rivals. How are you going to stop Doom? How are you going to stop Null if you can't get your steps in? You got to be training all the time to stay in peak physical condition. It seems that whatever notes were gathered yesterday in the tape on Rad are not enough to hamstring this team. They have so much variety
Yeah.
in their comps. And trust me, is a huge part of that, being able to play the Venom and the Captain America at equal levels of proficiency and be so dangerous on both.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw as well that there was, you know, Citadel tried to go in with that Venom, didn't work out. The difference is, it feels like when Rad were going with the Venom, they timed everything. They were like properly syncing it. And also, it was never Venom goes first, it was always Jeff goes first. It's just a funny little guy in your backline playing from a really annoying angle for you to have to deal with. And he takes, oh my goodness, can we see it? We do get it. We get 15,000 damage coming up for
God,
Fatal
basically
Jeff.
16,000. He's 47 short.
And 27,000 healing.
12 final hits?
Yeah.
Bro, that's disgusting.
It is incredibly funny that his primary is called Joyful Splash, because I think Sentinels were anything but after after that map. I wonder how far it's going to go before we see a Jeff ban come
Sadly
out
showered.
as well.
I mean, some teams might want to ban the Jeff. I know Reject hate playing against it.
Yeah.
It's going to be level 1 Crook walking away with the MVP on the Loki, however. Level 1 Crook, such a high output player, 35k when it comes to healing in this one, but it wasn't particularly long due to the hold on second, 60% accuracy. And you know what? Helping out in a lot of these KOs as well. 41 assists.
Yes, very, very strong Loki player, very, very strong Mantis player. And I think that's something else. Like, you talked about it, right? Rad, very, very flexible all across the board. If you try and ban them out of one particular hero, they fall back onto something else. And I think we really got to see that Rad played Sentinels. They took out the Vanguard, the strategy that we talked about, that 100 Thieves had actually employed against Sentinels in the past, which had problems for Sentinels to deal with. And we can see that Rad anticipated that they would be able to take advantage of that same weakness. So I think that's one that Sentinels are definitely going to have to try and brush up on before they go up against some of those other teams.
Yeah, let's have a look at our highlights now from this map. We really saw what Sentinels could achieve on third point, but unfortunately couldn't quite find the same value on their own attack of second. But it took them so long to break through like a very tilty spawn hold, because like the Jeff is such a distractionary feature in the backline as well, and it can also force someone to like try and overextend to try and fight with Jeff. You're like, yeah, I can take Jeff in a duel. Yeah, but what you don't know is that there's like a Captain America and there's a Venom who will wait like, yeah, bring him in, bring him in.
Yeah, and I mean, they had a really good read of first fight, right? Sentinels, where, like you said, level 1 Crook gets picked in a position never should have been, but they do the correct thing where they see that there's a Jeff and a Venom behind, and they know if they leave their backline behind, they're going to be split. So the backline tries to run to the front line, and they just try and walk onto Rad's players, because if they're all in the backline, no one's guarding the front line, or rather their own backline, so Loki becomes incredibly vulnerable. And it worked for that first pick, but Rad were just able to hold on to that space, box Sentinels into a really uncomfortable position where they're just stuck in a very small room having to wait out. They're safe from the Venom Dive in that space, not safe from the Ultron, which means that Rage of Ultron gets generated incredibly quickly and Rad are able to land on their feet.
True. You know what? The one thing we don't talk about with Jeff is that when you fall to Edge Jeff, it's incredibly tilting.
Yeah.
Like, the psychic damage you take is equal to the physical damage.
Yeah, because you're just like stuck in there and you're like, surely my team are going to be able to take him down before he finds the edge. No. Okay.
No. Awesome. Cool. Thanks, guys. Great stuff.
Because then, like, target focus also becomes a whole topic of dissent, where everyone's like, who was shooting the shark? Were you the shark? I was shooting the shark. I swear I was shooting the shark.
I was inside the shark. It can't be me, bro. It can't be me. I'm in there.
Yeah, we might need to get an X-ray on some of the contents of Jeff's stomach. Did you know that canonically he's actually eaten the Infinity Gauntlet?
Really?
Yes.
I wonder what flavor it is. Umami.
Yeah, there's actually a version of Jeff where he got into the collector's collection, and he had a whole bunch of wonderful goodies, one of which being the Infinity Gauntlet. So Jeff has nom nom nom.
So he eventually had some Infinity intestines, you know?
Maybe that was what was missing in Infinity War. If they'd had Jeff the Land Shark to just...
What you don't want to see is what comes after that meal. We won't discuss that on stream.
True. But now we have to talk about the fact that it's one apiece. NA has won, EMEA has won.
Yes, but NA still have one team yet to show themselves. 100 Thieves are going to be going up, I believe, against Rejects?
OUG.
Oh, yes, OUG. Yeah, they're going to be going up against the hometown heroes of Over Ultra Gaming. So there's definitely going to be a crowd here that wants OUG to win, and a lot of people in the Twitch chat, from what I've seen previously, who want 100 Thieves to dominate.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to be seeing a very similar ban strategy as well coming up against OUG. They love res comp, they also love Human Torch comps, so likely Johnny is going to be yet again sent packing in terms of those draft systems coming on out. But if you're Sentinels, I think you've got some really good like tape to go back and watch. They had some, like you said, amazing fight coordinations. There were also moments where the coordination was a little bit not quite desynced fully, but definitely cracks in the surface. And I mean, that's what dive does. Yeah. Right? It pressures your backline. It forces you into thinking, do I need to commit this resource? And if you get that wrong, if you try and make that immediate judgment and you get it wrong, then that plays in the back of your head and you then trying to overcompensate every time afterwards. And I think we saw a little bit of that coming on through too. Yeah, like that, just replays in your mind like, oh, what could I have done differently? Yeah. How could I have saved this? Honestly, I want to give Melio his flowers as well. Yes. Moving over onto the Ultron occasionally, like, I think that Melio got a lot out of the Encephalo Ray, really proving himself to be quite lethal on the Ultron. And the Phoenix too. He took to the Phoenix like a duck to water, fittingly enough, or I guess a bird to flames. Because like, if you've seen the animation cancels that you can do on Phoenix, Melio was like one of the first people who really found out the depths of play that you could go to onto the Phoenix, how quickly you could build up those ultimates and that spark generation, and he just looks insane on the character. And he's always been a very sought after duelist. Whenever we have Roster Mania in EMEA, one of the names I always hear floating around that a lot of teams want to be able to pick up is Melio. Yeah. So it really is no surprise that he was the standout today. It feels like Melio's finally found a home. He was a mercenary for a while. I think he was on Fnatic for a while. I hovered around with some of the OG guys. Yes. But eventually Melio found a home on what was Team 1, Luminosity before that. Yes. And now Rad, this team has really been through a lot together. They've always got on second place. No matter who they're up against, whether it's Boba Patavim or Virtus Pro, they've always managed to be the second best team. But here in Guangzhou, the biggest LAN yet, the biggest cup yet, the biggest prize yet for Marvel Rivals Esports, they could have a chance at first. I mean, biggest likes as well. True. I've been flashbanged. Yeah, we both have been flashbanged. We love our stage, though. Yeah. We love our stage. We love our set. We are so incredibly happy and grateful to NetEase for putting on this wonderful production and having us and also all of the teams over here, because getting to see all of the different regions immediately interact so that we can finally once and for all say, this is the best meta. Like, especially with Rivals being as diverse as it is and flexible in terms of everything's viable, it's great to see. All right, let's head down to the stage for an interview we got ready with, I believe, level 1 Crook.
Crook, they just had an incredible match where you just secured your place in the semi-finals by taking out the America's champions. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling happy, and it was a 3-0, but I think it should have been cleaner by us. Nevertheless, I'm just stoked, and I'm still happy we're in this run. While we had to go through the play-ins, right? Everything was tough for us, but we made it this far, so we want to make it further, of course. And you said it's been tough. You've had one of the toughest paths to actually get here. You came in not only through the play-in stage, but you also went through the lower bracket of that, and then went up against a region's champion. How are you feeling about this pathway to get here? How tough has it been for you? Well, I think Envy might be the best team in the tournament currently, and Nova Esports was also really good in my opinion. So we had a tough time, but I think it helped us get experience on stage, which is super valuable, especially going up against American champions like Sentinels. This was their first time, so maybe they had nerves, maybe the weather wasn't right in the environment. So who knows? But it's really good that we went through all this. So we've seen a lot of teams focusing on strategists, in particular against you, and that's really a feature of this advanced pick and ban system. How are you feeling about it? How much do you feel it has affected your games? Well, I believe the Jeff is really a card we can always whip out on any team. We did it in the last map because it was a very good pick, right? Venom Jeff into a Loki Luna. It's just very nice to play. And that forces them to ban Mantis most of the time, and then we have much more leeway for our tanks. We can go any tank we want, basically, and that's a really great advantage to have. So finally,
As I'm sure you're aware, your next opponent is a rematch. We just called out Envy as maybe one of the best teams at the tournament. You're facing them again in the semi-finals. Do you have any words for them, and do you have any shout-outs for anyone else at home?
Well, no words for Envy. It's going to be a dogfight. We both know it. It's going to be a close one, and the better one may come out on top. And whoever loses will meet in the final again, so it's all good. And shout out to Moxie and Dread.
All right, thank you very much, Level 1 Crook. Good luck in your next matchup, and we're going to head back to the casters.
Shout out to Moxie.
Thanks, Rad. Love you.
Cool. She put a Citadel too. What are they saying that to me for?
I mean, I talk to the players.
Fine.
You gotta do the laps before season start. You gotta do the sit-down interviews with everybody.
Ah, see, that was my problem. I interview standing up. Well, Simba Shenanigans, what a time it was, and they said how much they like playing that against Loki Luna, which kind of is one of the more meta backlines we've seen from strategists. And I think people underestimate what those tendrils do in terms of healing, including the overhealth that they can give over us all, which is really good against Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, the range too. If we're all playing stacked up so that you can everyone participate in the dive, especially because the Jeff's coming with you on the dive, 10 meters range is nothing to sniff at all. But I mean, oh, the rematch potential, Harry. We've gone from a BO3 Envy versus Rad to a BO5, which means potential 5 mappers, potentially more than 5 mappers. We've actually seen a fair number of draws come through in grand finals, which have been BO7s and then actually proceeded to go 8 games. I would not be surprised if we see something similar.
Yeah, like those convergence maps, they can be very draw happy, especially when both teams cap in overtime. You only get that minute, and it's so hard to try and finagle one over on a team that's been so defensively stalwart. I'm so impressed by Rad so far, though. I thought that was going to be a little bit more contentious than a 3-0, but they really seem to have learned so much about stage play from yesterday with a couple of characters who haven't really been able to play on the stage just yet. And I think that we are going to have a much closer game in the best of 5.
Yeah, especially because they'll have learned, like you said, a lot from getting to see Envy against Citadel.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, Yggdrasil Path was a point of contention when they went up against Envy. I don't think it's going to be a point of contention if you can just play the way that Citadel did on these earlier maps.
Yeah, maybe we see a world where Envy try and target ban that Jeff. I don't know if they played against it much anyway, but we know that Envy are like pseudo-Jeff believers.
Yes.
They were early adopters of things like the Jeff Nado, so there's definitely going to be a lot of respect there, and Envy know the value of the speed boost from the bubbles as well, that Fate's really been getting a lot of value out of.
Yeah, I mean, they've even been using one-sided tempo speed boost on Storm, so like you said, they do know the value. Storm a little bit more meta, I guess, in terms of niche situations that Jeff applies into. Storm has been in meta far longer than Jeff the Land Shark, unfortunately, in my personal opinion.
I think I'm definitely on the Storm side of this divide. Plus, you get to see Speedily frag out with those cleaving projectiles. The cleaving wind is, it really can build up that Omega Hurricane quite quickly. But it feels like Omega Hurricane's kind of dropped off a cliff in terms of like the respect it gets in the lethality. Yeah, it does a bunch of damage, but most are just like, didn't ask.
Yeah, we'll run away from it, or if we have, you know, Loki, we'll just regeneration domain 1, 2, 3 stepping stone and just breeze along our merry way.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about forcing out those resources and then leaving. I rarely see Speedily stick around in that particular ultimate, but for Rad, they're smart enough to be able to deal with the Storm in isolation. Question is, can you out-brain power the fragging potential that Envy have? Because both Cal and Speedily were looking on fire.
Yeah, I mean, Cal's Phoenix was definitely something to worry about. So too was the Winter Soldier, though. And I feel like if you're Rad, if you do want to play the Jeff strategies again, maybe Winter Soldier might actually be the better ban force the Phoenix, so that you can come on through and have better dive targets, as opposed to having to worry about more CC with Bionic Hook and Kraken Impact, which can outlast your strategist ultimates if he gets a single reset.
Yeah, more survivability as well with the with additional health after each of those abilities, whether he hits someone or not. How fun. But for Rad, like Naga, I'm very impressed with what I saw today on the Wolverine. We saw some generational grabs, and it seems like there's such clean calling. We saw with that initial grab of Vestalo before any stellar shifts could come out after the landing, everyone on the team was just pelting Vestalo on the way down to make sure he did not hit Terra Firma.
Well, they went for the Magneto. Like, they were fine leaving the Adam and the Mantis in play because they knew that if a Star-Lord comes out, it's not going to be with a Magneto bubble, so it's much easier to be able to counterplay when the Star-Lord uses that Blaster Barrage to start open that fight, because, like, that's the engagement line of a rescom position. It's always your Magneto gives you Star-Lord bubble with the Bulwark, and then your Star-Lord goes in with your Blaster Barrage spin. You hit multiple bodies, you force multiple cooldowns. If you're up against Loki, you can just burn all of the doppelgangers in one place. A lot of the time it forces regeneration to main out early, and you can shred for that, and then you get like 35% of your ultimate, then you go back, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and all of a sudden you've got Galactic Legend immediately.
And Galactic Legend can prove to be very deadly because you can pick your targets very easily. And of course, for damage, the lock-on distance is a little bit longer now as well. We have a special interview over on the stage. Let's throw it on over, I believe, to Cozy.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? I'm Cozy, and I'm joined by my friend and streamer, Guru. How you doing today?
Yo, doing really good. Life is really good.
Good, man. Well, it's good to have you here. Good to have you on the stage. And I've got to open up and ask, because this is history. First land for Marvel Rivals. You're looking at all these teams. You've seen a lot of them play. And I want to kick things off by asking you, if you could jump into any of these teams, who would you pick, and what hero would you lock in?
Ooh, I would like to hop in the Terra backpack on 100 Thieves. That'd be nice. I'd be on Wolf.
Yeah, just the carry role for the duelist.
Of course.
100 Thieves, duelist. You heard it from Guru himself here. And with that, talking about heroes, let me ask you, you watch a lot of Rivals, I know, when you're streaming. So what hero, from your perspective, is the most entertaining to watch?
Honestly, I've been enjoying watching Torch, and I just always like watching different Wolverine playstyles. Okay. So probably those two.
What is it about Torch that you like watching?
It's just like infinite APM. Like the more you can, there's like an infinite cap basically on how much you can do.
For sure.
And we're seeing it, like Tanuki is crazy.
Yeah, he's really good.
That guy's crazy.
We have so much talent. Speeder, Tanuki, I mean, the Flyers in this tournament, insane. Talking about Torch, kind of, he was underrated going into this season. So now looking ahead, tell me, what hero do you think is the most overrated hero and underrated, both sides?
Overrated, probably, I don't know. There's not really any overrated ones, I think, but underrated Thing. I think there needs to be more Thing being played in this tournament. I think it counters a lot of the teams, and I think it was working for Sentinels, but it, kind of got unlucky near the end.
Yeah, for sure. And it's nice that more Vanguards equipped to handle the Flyers, and the meta is definitely nice here.
Exactly.
And listen, if y'all don't know, Guru here played for a team in the group stage, Solaris, and they were nearly on their way here to Ignite. Now that you've been here, you've witnessed all this as a player in the group stage. I mean, tell me, are you locked in? You trying to get the spot in the finals? Are you guys coming back for more?
Oh yeah, Solaris will be in grand finals for sure.
love to hear it, my man. And in general, you've been, is this your first time to Guangzhou in China?
Oh yeah, first time leaving the U.S.
Ah, no way. First time leaving
the
U.S. So tell me, what has been your highlight of Guangzhou, China?
My highlight is not getting invited to this event, and now I'm on stage. This is crazy.
Dude,
they're taking care of us, dude.
Good, yeah. The hospitality here is just unmatched. And I've got to ask, okay, we're looking at the matches here. We've got a lot of teams to go, a lot of matches to go. But let's pretend it's day 5. There's 2 teams, grand finals. Who do you have?
Envy versus 100 Thieves.
Envy versus 100 Thieves. Very, if you don't know, Guru's from America, so very America pick there in the terms of the teams. But we'll have to see. We've had now one team in Envy winning, and then we had now Sentinels just going down to Rad. But in general, can't wait to see you up there in the watch party, and I appreciate you here coming on stage.
Of course. Happy to be here.
Absolutely, y'all. Well, don't go anywhere. We've got an electric matchup coming in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll see you right after.
大家好，我们是欧游记。哈，大家好，我是欧游记的莫兰。
大家好，我是欧游记的子墨的，喜欢玩商业策法。大家好，我是欧游记的小壮，然后是个鲨鱼爱好者。
首先肯定是有点小小的开心吧，但是也比较担心。但是我相信我们不管什么样的困难，在我们齐心协力下，应该都能很好的去解决。
感觉 自己第一次离世界冠军这么近，想要拼尽全力拿下这个冠军吧。
首先让大家先冷静下来，先思考一下，然后也是每个人说出自己比较难受的地方。毕竟想赢游戏，肯定都要大家玩都舒服。
可能版本初期的时候不知道什么阵容吧，然后后面就是学习别的队伍那种见解，然后再融合到我们自己身上吧。
我们最想和 CTG 过招，因为他们是欧洲第一嘛。
我最想对阵的是 Nova， 兄弟们顶峰相见吧。现在最想对阵的是 CTG， 在我心里面，他们可能是这次世界赛最难缠的对手吧。
100T 已经狠狠的研究了，
肯定要先拿下100T， 然后再去研究起来后面的强队。我们会去研究我们的每个对手的他们熟悉的阵容和打法，还有他们的英雄池什么的，会对他们做出一些针对吧。
我们的目标也只能是冠军，也只有冠军，然后电子竞技只有第1名，其他都不重要了。
当然是来拿冠军啊，难道是来玩吗？目标的话肯定是冠军，然后不留遗憾，好吧。
刀不锋利马太瘦，我看谁敢与我斗。
在场上见，把你们全打爆！别拿切后排了，你会死的。
Hello everyone, we are 100 Thieves Marvel's Rivals team. Hello, my name is Tara. I'm the captain of 100 Thieves Marvel Rivals team.
Hello, I'm TTK.
I'm Delena.
We've gone to the mid-season finals and we feel really good about it.
I'm feeling pretty good for the mid-season finals. I hope that we do well and we don't choke under pressure.
I'm feeling really good that we're in the mid-season finals. Very confident in the team right now. Gonna try and win it all.
I think we'll do pretty well against the international teams. I feel pretty confident.
Playing against the international teams, it's like a fresh new game because everyone in NA plays a certain way, and around the world the play styles are very different. So very confident that we'll be able to beat everyone here.
Whenever we face a difficult situation, we just kind of follow the basic procedures and what we've practiced. We don't try and do anything like rash or out of the ordinary. We follow basic rules and stuff that we always know. I really don't care about what team we play against first because at the end of the day it's just business and we were signed to win.
Probably Citadel. They beat VP. Really wanted to meet all the guys over there, so just want to beat them for them. We're going to do whatever it takes to win.
I mean, the goal of the competition with every other team is to win this, keep the momentum going into stage 2. I don't think anyone came here to lose or anything like that. Everyone has the expectations to win.
The goal here, obviously to win, but we just gotta be calm and collected and it'll be easy from there. I think every team here is pretty shit right now, so I think we're gonna win.
嶺南有句俗話，飲頭啖湯，意思係湯要飲第一啖，事要敢為人先。
我
We came to win, to leave no doubt that we're the best team in the world.
이건 단순한 경쟁이 아닙니다. 역사에 남을 대단한 쇼가 될 것입니다.
We're not here to take part, we're here to take over.
Anything less than first is a failure.
이 경기장에서는 영웅을 연기하는 게 아닙니다. 진짜 영웅이 되는 거예요.
Some chase records, we set them.
Six minds, one heartbeat, a single objective.
让世界记住我们的名字。
They call us rivals. We're here to prove them right.
Trapping all those fighting souls, but yet across the world I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight like the sun and moon, and I wonder if ever there was a time that we were friends. The night has fallen, shadows looming, and yes, that time has come for me to seek you out. We are set now for our last reunion. Break the chains, find your way, come find me. Do
It is time for our third series. Please welcome to the stage, Over Ultra Gaming! When you talk about Over and Ultra, this team embodies it. Undefeated in MRC, undefeated in Invitationals, undefeated in Ignite. These are Over Ultra Gaming. Now please welcome 100 Thieves! "100 Thieves" are one of the first dominant forces to appear in the Americas and have consistently stayed at the top ever since. Many have tried, only a few have even come close. Please welcome 100 Thieves! Let us ignite the battle. It is time to head back to the casters.
Welcome everyone to the Marvel Rivals Ignite Series Mid-Season Finals. I am one of your casters, I Run Chip, here with my co-cast Dogman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good today, Shipskis. Obviously, today is an exciting day as we enter the main stage of the $500,000 Ignite Series, the mid-season, bro. So it's been awesome here in Guangzhou, especially to be alongside you, Ship.
Right back
and, man, we got 2 more games today. Obviously, the first few were taken through by Moxie and Leg Day.
Yes.
And that was baller. Those were some crazy games earlier.
Yeah, especially the first game. I mean, going to the very last potential map in OT 99.99. It was like watching a finals, right? It was like, it had my heart pumping from the, I actually was sprinting around just because I was so excited. Yeah, I mean, you can't contain the energy.
He was losing his mind back there because of how exciting it was. And, well, speaking of which, on that first game, just to sort of recap it, I mean, yeah, like you said, it was crazy. I was sitting next to Tanuki's parents. I think I told you about that earlier on in the crowd as they watched that series. And Tanuki's mom actually gave me this as a gift, and I felt bad because they lost. So I was like trying to comfort them, like, it's okay, lower bracket, you know, you'll come back or whatever. But look at this thing, man. It's the Jeff. It's the Jeff charm. It's the little Deadpool you can put on the back of the Jeff. You want to see it real quick, man?
I absolutely love this thing. I got to pin it to your back. We got to get the fin there.
Yeah, you get on the back.
Well, this is so cool.
Well,
you got to check this out.
She spent 80 hours hand making this. So it's not, you can't get this anywhere. Obviously, it was just Tanuki's mother made it.
Sure.
And was awesome enough to just let it be shown on the broadcast. She has so much cool stuff like Jeff bags and whatever. Hopefully, she doesn't get like requests to go make stuff now. But refocusing back on this series, Ship, dude, it's going to be an incredibly exciting matchup between the home favorite in OUG versus 100 Thieves. So this is going to be crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams obviously very special. OUG has never lost a tournament. That you heard me say it once. Let me say it twice. Has never lost a tournament one time.
Are you serious?
They are by far the favorite here for China, and they're looking to press through and take on 100 Thieves, both of which have an argument, with the best DPS in their area.
Yeah.
And now we find out who comes out on top in this next series.
Well, yeah, I mean, we could definitely talk about maybe like predictions and stuff as we get there, but you talked about it. I mean, yeah, OUG just didn't lose at all in their entire region, and I think we heard about it. It's like Nova was always in second place, right?
Yeah.
It was constantly them just waiting behind. I know eHome's also another good team that didn't make it into this tournament, but I mean in the midseason. But regardless, I think OUG definitely was a heavy favorite to come out of the China qualifiers, to come out of the Stage 1 China matches, and you can see probably why in their matches coming up in a second. But this is the first time I know a lot of us English-speaking folk are going to get hands-on experience with these guys.
Yeah, and that's the fun part about these tournaments, right? We talk about the best in the world, and this is where you get to see that in action. A lot of us haven't had eyes on with China or some of these other regions. Maybe you just didn't get to catch it. Maybe you never, bothered to go look. But trust me, these tournaments are just as insane as your region. Talking about insane, we talk about Sentinels sweeping 100 Thieves, coming through there on the finals in the past in Ignite. And, maybe that was a fluke, right? It was a reverse sweep, so you got to hope that 100 Thieves can bounce back from that, learn from their mistakes, and take on OUG.
Yeah, a lot of people are putting pressure on the North American regions for sure, like you said. I mean, 100 Thieves and Sentinels, these are the two teams that qualified at the top through our stage 1 to get ready for the midseason. And now coming into it, it seems to a lot of people like Envy might be that strongest team, even though they had a very close matchup with Citadel Burr. You predict them to win the whole thing, man, and you're maybe looking like the right choice. That's looking like the right choice from the North American side, at least.
Sure, yeah. We're just getting started. I don't want to get cocky, right? I mean, all of us are guessing. Obviously, you chose Sentinels. Today was a tough game for them. I mean, I know they're a very strong team. You got to remember, all these teams are playing at such a close level. It's any given day. They just didn't look like themselves in the first two maps and started bouncing back there on 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have to see today how 100 Thieves does versus the Chinese team that is seen as the best Chinese team. Like you talked about it. It cannot be understated how good of a team OUG is. We heard even rumors, before Ignite started about how OUG was beating, if you guys are from the European region, from the EMEA region, you know how good Virtus Pro is, right?
Yeah.
Not qualifying for the Ignite midseason is insane. Obviously, if we had 3 spots for EMEA, that would be a different story. But OUG, this team apparently was beating Virtus Pro in scrims and also North American teams. So these guys are scary, and if you're not aware of them, maybe we're about to learn today against the 100 Thieves.
Absolutely, and there was conversations with them being the quote-unquote best in the world. So let's put that to the test. You have Spald, Xiao Zhuang, Taro Cookie, Molan, and that's that duelist I'm talking about, potentially one of the strongest, Ganbei and Hetlot, and I'm stoked to see that matchup between the two of them, the duelist battle, the ego check, and you know they're going to be holding over each other's heads in the future.
Absolutely, and speaking about Molan, I think him and Rymazing had a little bit of a discussion, like, you're like the Chinese equivalent of Rymazing over here in North America, in the American region. Speaking of the American region, taking a look at 100 Thieves, we already know these guys, Shib. I mean, Delena, TTK, Tara, Vinny, Harvey, Millennia. I mean, we've known these guys forever. It's kind of interesting that Millennia is starting today. I don't know how much we even want to discuss why he's being played today. I mean, what do you think, Shib? Should we talk about it, or is
so my thought is this. This is one thing to know. Millennia is very much a flex fill, so that is really unique when it comes to having somebody on your bench being able to flex. I believe Millennia in the past has been playing as a duelist, coming in here now as a strategist. Ton of flexibility, but is that super comfort? How much time have they put in that role? All that is up to question, and it has you maybe doubting how the team will perform together, but we don't know what's been going on behind the scenes and how they've been playing, and obviously that is the decision they made.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see at the online discussions. I mean, just like what happens throughout the series, what's going on. Maybe Millennia gets like a stock boost if 100 Thieves were to win, right? That would be huge. We'll have to see how 100 Thieves does. I think we know, like you talked about, how good of a team they are to constantly be in the top discussions. Before, when they were Mutants, now to come through. Before then, when they were Team Blue in the War of the Realms tournament, that was super long ago. So these guys have been together for a pretty much year together as a unit, and so the fact that they're even putting in Millennia instead of SJP is crazy. I mean, that should not be understated how much of a change that is, considering how consistent this lineup has been throughout the year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. We had a conversation with Terry yesterday. He was essentially saying this team is like a friend group now, right? So And making a change like that, it tests the friendship a little bit, I believe, and that is a difficult thing to handle in live and in video games, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got to be cohesive, you got to be confident, and you got to understand each other. You play, you essentially get in the mind of your teammate. You understand what they're going to do before they even have to tell you, and that helps out with comms, which I know this team is more driven there with Terra's comms, but they do all pitch in. So I don't know how it's going to shake out. I'd like to see how it happens. We talk about Cal stepping in from the bench, saying, I want the ball, coach, getting in there and showing up.
Yeah.
This could happen for Millennia.
And that's also a good point to maybe come back into experience we've had so far at the LAN environment that we're here in Guangzhou. I mean, we were in the same hotel as these guys. Obviously, they're practicing there as well. And in those situations, we're just like, okay, what are we going to do? Study for these games, right? We're going to get ready for the matches for the mid-season. And, we're going to watch scrims, going to the practice rooms, all the casters, and everybody's kind of watching on the backside. I tried to go ask, listen, I've been teammates with Gator, now the head coach of Envy, and I asked him, I was like, yo, can I watch you guys scrim versus 100 Thieves? The answer I got was, no. Yeah, get the hell, he sent me
out of here.
He said, get the hell out of here, dog, man. And I did, because that is a very tense matchup. Even in practice, these guys have a very deep and rooted sort of not bad blood, but there's a lot of pressure to just win the practice, win the scrims. You would think in a practice room, it's not all about winning, it's about improving, right? And sometimes you just, your ego takes over, I guess, and 100 Thieves just want to constantly win, make sure they're back in the game.
Yeah, you want to keep things under wraps sometimes, and that may result in, interactions like that. I don't know what that means. That could go back to this switch, right, with Millennia. It's just there's so much complexity to this whole ordeal. But I want to circle back to a conversation we were having about Mulan. You said essentially the Ry-Mazing of this region.
Right.
Having the Iron Man, Panther, I know that those heroes in and of themselves, crowd favorites, right? So definitely potential there. I know Torch is on the, definitely playable.
Yeah.
And you had a conversation with me, speaking of Torch, that I want to, just segue right through.
Okay.
What do you think that, if I am playing for OUG, what do I do and what do I leave open for 100 Thieves? I was setting you up for this because it was a great call.
Right. Well, oh my God, wait, I completely blanked actually. That's
Leave
the funny
Torch.
part.
Leave
Torch.
Torch.
There we go. Thank you. You had
My
me
fault,
reminded.
buddy.
This is why we're partners, because you catch me when I am faltering. And speaking of which, it's going to be map dependent, obviously. We'll have to see as we go to Aramco map number 1. The biggest thing is, like you said, we were talking about it before, where in the Ignite series, it felt like 100 Thieves, as good as Terra is and as good as Delena are, they sort of lack in flexibility sometimes, right? They are really good. And Terra, I know, will get very upset at me if I said that. I said that on broadcast. I think I was like, his Bucky was maybe lacking, and then he was like, bro, did you see me get my, pop-off games later on in those matches?
The longest ult ever in history.
He proved me wrong. I mean, this guy, Terra, like we talked about, has been proving individuals wrong for so long, including myself. And like you said, I mean, I feel like leaving the Torch open could be a strategy for OUG against them, but we'll see how much they know. I mean, we talked about how some teams are maybe underprepared going into this tournament because you have to prepare for so many regions. There's so many hours to watch of the VODs of every single region, and not everybody can do that because they have to focus on what's in front of them.
Yeah, I just to piggyback off of what you're saying, typically 100 Thieves, just for those who maybe do not know or, in a different region, they typically never run that Torch. They don't feel confident. They have Delena on some sort of hit scan, and they have Terra on Bucky or some sort of off pick that he feels comfortable on. He's got a lot in the belt, but we have not seen Torch from them. The ban does not seem worth it, and that enables you to start getting crazy in the ban phase, which is a massive part of this game, just to make sure the audience understands that. But OUG, if they get that Torch through, is scary. And so you got to make sure that, that in and of itself, having that you're forced to make that ban happen is an advantage.
Exactly, and that's why, speaking about the guy himself, the man himself, Mulan, it is Mulan.
Yep.
He is definitely that guy who has the flexibility, and that's what we're learning. I feel like when we talked in other hero shooter games about, flexibility of players, jack of all trades players, if you will.
Yeah.
I personally, as a player myself in those games, I kind of memed on it. Like, I was like, okay, this is kind of like, some silly nonsense by the casters, because I was like, really, at the end of the day, there was no bans, right, in the games that I played when I competed.
Of course.
There was none of that system. Now that we have the ban system, flexibility is so important.
Yeah.
And it can't be understated how many hours you can spend on one hero. You know that.
Yeah.
And you still feel like you probably aren't at the peak at certain heroes. Like with Emma Frost, do you even feel that you have reached her maximum potential?
No, absolutely not.
No.
I mean, I watched Kaluj play today, and it blew my mind. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. Skill ceilings, we have that conversation. For those who don't know, skill ceiling is essentially how much effort you can put into a hero, and it elevates the way you play the hero. One of those characters that has potentially, definitely, actually, in my opinion, the highest skill ceiling is that Torch. So maybe the teams don't elect to put time into it because you just have to put and invest so much time into Torch if you want to reach this level of play. So instead, you maybe try to choose some lower skill ceiling heroes that you can get a lot of value with, and then be able to pull them out and diversify your pool that way.
Absolutely, you're right, Shiv, 100%. And speaking about, you know, the consistency of, you know, heroes and just trying to figure out and learn them, the backline of OUG, the strategists are really, you know, unsung heroes of these teams, of professional esports orgs in general, because of the fact that, you know, you don't really have a lot of that limelight on you. And we know how good, if your team is winning, you can't have bad strategists, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
so
you can't make mistakes.
No, yeah, exactly. And both Asphald and Zhao Zheng are both crazy supports, both insane strategist players, and we're going to learn why today, I think.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off with more of that, Ganbei is essentially, he's a really, really strong Venom. And one thing that is kind of interesting that we can mention here, he was a Naraka pro, Naraka Blade Point. Yeah, made here by this team of NetEase, switched over to this game and is just insane, right? So that is a gamer, if I have ever seen one, and that is something you want to take into Rivals, picking up the game quickly, like we talk about all the time, in its infancy,
it's
right?
Not easy.
Yeah, it's not. And being in its infancy at this level just shows how quickly you can adapt from playing at such a high level at another game, coming in here and making that switch, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And that
very different game too.
That game could not be more different.
Yeah, it's very different.
I played it with Moxie. Moxie's actually good at that game. I am not. So I gave up immediately. Moxie's like, yo, you should come cast this game. I'm like, yeah.
He is not a gamer.
Not a gamer there. But who is a gamer is Vinny in the side of the vanguards of 100 Thieves.
Sure.
And we talk about the strategists. Maybe let's focus back on these vanguards, specifically in Vinny, and, you know, later on we talk about TTK.
Yeah.
What's something that you could say about both Vinny and TTK that stands out? Obviously, we're going to look at Terra in a moment, but what do you think about Vinny and TTK?
Yeah, so let me bring up Vinny first. One of the best Groots in the game. I know right now maybe not the highest Groot meta, right? Is maybe quote-unquote not meta, but I do think definitely playable, especially in the more divey compositions, but a little more brawly.
Yeah.
But Groot's going to be getting a buff here coming up in the next patch.
Oh my goodness.
I can have no doubt in my mind he will be seeing his way more into the meta, but an incredible Groot, very strong player. And then you switch over to TTK, and that is the top-tier kid. This guy uses a controller and is insanely accurate, very high sense. I don't understand how it's physically possible. Plays more slow-paced Vanguards because, you know, honestly, in my opinion, if you're playing on a controller, it's more difficult to get value on something like a hit-scan duelist.
Absolutely.
But it's, you know, it's easier on the Vanguard front, but he is insane. I've never seen him miss a Mag Meteor M, but I'm saying that I'm definitely jinxing.
Absolutely not. And you are jinxing it for sure. We always cast a curse here. And Enzo as well, the other controller player in this tournament. Delena as well. Everybody's waving towards the camera today, man. We got some good personality. Hell yeah. I mean, Delena was the guy that I think when I was looking back at the game in the first place, this is the guy I mirrored my own sensitivity off of as a hell of a because I came into ranked against him for the first time, and I was like getting dominated, like straight up. Like I was like, I'm just going like, you know, 4 and like 20 or something like that against Delena. I'm like, I gotta copy this guy's sense. Like,
can't beat him, join him.
Can't beat him, join him. And sometimes a lot of pro teams even follow that strategy. You know, we saw yesterday, I believe Nova weren't really trying some strategies out. Then after playing against Rad, you know, played the Jeff. They were doing a bunch of different things last second, and sometimes it is like that. You need to make last-second adjustments, and that's what makes the good teams amazing. That flexibility that we talked about. We're going to really see that, I think, Shib, today, is the lacking of flexibility for a lot of teams, right? When we talk about the ban phase, it really is the most important thing in the game now. You know, in the past, we were like not even considering something like that, but really flexibility and being able to change the different heroes is what's going to separate you from everybody else. And it's not even just like being able to play to the baseline level, but at the best level in the entire game, like somebody like Speedery and somebody like Milan, like you said.
Yeah, I think the ban, we can talk about the ban phase till the cows come home. It's so complex, and I personally am of mind that when you have a coach, it's a little easier because they track stats. I mean, I'm not sure. Being a player coach in a ban phase is terrifying. I mean, it's all about confidence and making sure you can make the right decision in the moment. But we talked about yesterday, it's not necessarily trying to get your composition. It's trying to ensure the enemy doesn't get their composition while you still have a composition that could beat what you've designed against you. It's so complex, especially as you're banning now 4 heroes, right? So it is tricky. It is difficult. And you get into the discussion of, is it the captain every time, or is it more open, right?
Yeah, actually, I wonder if it's a more open discussion. Sometimes that's why, like, it's different per team, I guess, because I wonder if some teams maybe enact a more team-based, orientated ban system. A lot of teams, I think, just have one guy do it and everybody shuts up. Like, we walked into rooms during practice and they weren't even phased. Like, we were just chatting to them during the ban phases. So a lot of time it is just one mind doing. In. Yeah, because what happens is I imagine they discuss things beforehand or after and then make adjustments then. But we're going to get into it, man. Speaking of the ban phase right now, I believe, as we head to Araco First up, man, this is going to be an amazing map number 1 on Domination.
Yeah, honestly, Krakoa, one of my favorite maps now. I love the music, right?
I said a Rocco, not Krakoa.
You know, it's
oh my goodness.
Family member. You're good. You're good. You're good. Family member still hits. You actually see Krakoa on a Rocco, so we're going to make that transition. Transitive property, it did work. As we ban 100 Thieves, going to ban out that torch.
They missed the ban.
Oh.
OUG missed the ban. Maybe
look at the. You can see the face.
So there's this thing. What happens when you miss a ban in practice? You just type the hero you want banned afterwards. You're like, sorry guys, I missed it. This is who I meant to ban. And this happened to me. I like rang for a team one time, and I just missed the ban phase because I was in charge of it for some reason as a ringer. And I missed the ban phase, and like, we just want this banned, right? We want Loki banned or something like that. So maybe they'll talk about that later. I don't know.
That is insane.
It's never happened in an official. It's happened in an official, but nothing's been done about it. So I really want to know, especially on this land stage, what's going to happen? Like, was there a reason behind it? We'll have to learn later, man.
No way.
That's crazy.
It's not an aura play because they immediately started banning after. I had a weird feeling maybe they just wouldn't ban at all and just thought they were that confident, but looks like it was just a miss. And then 100 Thieves, like we talked about, definitely get rid of the torch. They're banning the torch right back. I don't know if they've done their homework. I'm not sure that 100 Thieves has that torch on the docket.
I mean, they can play the torch. The problem is there's not many teams that really are the most insane torch team in the game, right? And a lot, like I said, a lot of the North American teams, unfortunately, that were good at torch, besides Envy, obviously. I think Envy, we already know how good Speedery is at flyers. It's not that Terra or, on the opposite side for Sentinels have Nectar and Rymazing are bad at torch.
Okay. I thought I saw the ban switch. I was like, wait, did they miss a ban too? I'm losing my mind, but no.
No, sometimes it feels like a wasted ban. That's all. And you know what? When we see today, we'll see how, if the torch does go through, what's going to change. But like you said, it could be something that they could invest on something else. So not only did you ban out torch, you also don't have another ban. So really, you only have 2 bans right now against the Loki and the Cloak and Dagger, which strategists are great and all, but you're leaving the Mantis open now for 100 Thieves. Everybody's talking about how good Mantis is in triple, and you can't play it yourself on OUG side. Maybe going to have to focus on some sort of Ultron compositions, or I don't know, because we've heard so many good things about Mantis, specifically on Domination as well, when you can be so constant and just so much pressure that can be provided by your team with Adam Warlock and his res on top of Mantis and the damage boosts.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we go. One thing I want to see, for my eyes looking immediately, is Harvey, obviously a very strong strategist, but now you bring Millennia in. I'm not sure if they're going to be switching up. Okay, Harvey is going to still be on the invis, very confident on the invis, and that's a small. Millennia is on the Jeff. Off the rip. That might be a speed boost out, and we'll see a change. Yes, we do. Now on to Luna, more traditional composition here. Very heals heavy on the side of 100 Thieves as Taro Cookie presses out here. Molan going to be on. Oh, this is crazy here.
On
because,
the Wolf?
Yeah, the Wolverine. If you have a strong duelist on a Wolverine, which we know Tara, a very strong duelist as well, that is a scary, scary sight. Tara is going to be able to pull out the Wolf if they want, but right now, looks like he's going to be playing the Phoenix as Terra's going to start off here, deal some damage on the front line. Holy! Almost an immediate KO, but no, does not happen as they reset back as a team. Ganbei up in the high side, trying to drop in, bang, and does get a few bop, just trying to get some cooldowns out. Literally 20 HP with an escape there in the danger zone. Now he's going to be playing a little bit more defensively. No cooldowns out, and that gives him some space. I lied. An immediate retake. 15% or 50-second cooldown out again on the shield. Terra going to get the damage up. Ganbei going to find Harvey, though, early, and that's a number up for OUG. Will they be able to keep the pressure on the point at about 70-90, and that's theirs as OUG is holding on again. Terra, though, with a pick on asphalt. Delena onto Ganbei, and now the numbers back in their favor. It's all about stalling now for OUG. Can they hold on and get enough percentage to make it a one-fight game?
Yeah, but the greens out as well, and oh no, Zhao Zhuang going to fall as well, so constant pressure right now from 100 Thieves, also using the dance floor to continue this pressure here, Shiv, as they're going to clean things up. A lot of picks by, like you said, that duelist line in Terra and Delena. You thought that they would be in a worse situation because of what happened earlier on to Harvey, but they did commit the fate of the worlds there. Committing the dance floor is big because we know how strong strategist ultimates are in this next fight.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to put them at a slight disadvantage, but them winning that 5v6 is a good sign. It's confidence. They found a pick immediately after as we start another fight here. Headlock going to put some damage out. Keep up and heavy as we go with the meteor ram up. Does it land? It does! Down goes Millennia early. Delena is going to trade right back with Sval. No numbers even out, but we do have a strategist down on the side of 100 Thieves, and that's an advantage. Walking from TTK, no eyes where, but does find one as Molan goes down. And that's a huge pick again. Down goes the duelist up in the sky. We go with the meteor ram. The meatball doesn't land. Looking for one. Does not. Vinny going to hold on here on the Magneto, and it's still 40% holding on. And no slight ult advantage here for OUG, but nothing major.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that Meteor M from Vinny was crazy. And the fact that we have Vinny, by the way, on Magneto instead of TK, I mean, that's an awesome role swap that we're seeing come through that we haven't seen out of 100 Thieves just in anywhere, really, back in the Ignite series. So that's cool. A little wrinkle for 100 Thieves to change things up last second as OUG comes into this next fight, only having Milan in that dance of the butterflies, as you like to call it. So we'll see what happens. No greens as well as they don't have the Loki on the opposite side.
No strategist ultimate to counter it, though, and that is a big factor as they will be hyper aggro. It's all about stacking in that ultimate now. There is no crystals either on the side of Loki to keep the team healthy from it. Ganbei going to take the height here. The Loki is banned on the side of 100 Thieves. They play that very well. And there's the initiation. Great shield. Out goes the dance. Doesn't find value. It does not. Milan going to reset. Find his way out. Terra with a ton of damage. Ready with an ultimate 2. Walking in. Just going to drop and doesn't find value. He down goes 3 as TTK takes out Terra as well.
Yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves not skipping a step right now, Ship. They look amazing. 94% of the board. Portal also not going to come in time, but they will have somebody touch maybe. And no, nobody even swapped to the Doctor Strange. They're just going to go to the next round, and 100 Thieves win round number 1.
100 Thieves, the hit scan warriors right now looking terrifying. You see the Ensong Inferno coming in for Phoenix. So, for those who don't know, burns all shields that are popped and all cooldowns, out there, and they immediately follow up with everybody committing. That is how you have to use Ensong. A lot of teams are trying to use Meteor M after Ensong because if they're trying to shield it in the moment, you're not expecting it. It is going to make that Meteor find so much more value. There's a lot of combination with that. Obviously, the damage boost with Luna does allow for the one shot of the squishies in the back line. So there's a ton you can do with Ensong, and it obviously resets health bar. It's a very valuable ult that I think is slept on in ladder. I mean, a lot of teams, you see teams at the highest level clearly playing Phoenix a ton, but at this level with coordination, it is invaluable.
Oh, absolutely. Terra is that guy who can flex at whenever we maybe even doubt him. Like I said, I maybe doubted him on Torch today. I mean, can't play Torch obviously till later on if it goes unbanned, but not skipping a step on Phoenix, man. That guy is a freak of nature on that hero, and also 100 Thieves as a cohesive unit are looking beautiful. And it's interesting because usually, we talk, like I said, I talked to Trust Me. He thinks that triple strategist, triple with the Adam Warlock Mantis and whoever support or every strategist who can add on to it is very strong. 100 Thieves skip out on that. They don't even care.
They don't.
They're not really that good, I guess, at the triple res. They're really the only team out of North America, I think, that plays it a ton to a high level is a team like Envy and even sometimes Sentinels. But 100 Thieves have that's never been their forte.
Which is wild, and I think that goes back to doing your homework. OUG here banning the Torch and the Mantis, right? So it's I understand the composition. It seems like they're just banning the meta right now, and that's not the way to go about it at this level of play, especially when you're at this stage of the tournament. Taro Cookie trying to find an off-angle fight here, dealing some damage onto the front line, but does get immediately healed up. Remember, damage is not the stat to be looking at too much. While you have strategists as strong as these are, do not make mistakes. They just get ults quickly. And out goes the boundary, keeping the team up as we see the dance floor. Will the Meteor Ram land? And the Phoenix damage boost, the combination, like I said, with the Phoenix into the Meteor Ram. Headlock finds Millennia, and that's a huge pick, getting rid of that shield quickly. Beautiful play there by Taro Cookie and Headlock.
Yeah, that was a beautiful combination, but they're still trying to win it here. Ganbei trying to stall things out as well, or Vinny rather, coming back with the Meteor M, but can't find the elimination because of all those shields we talked about earlier.
Yeah, it was a good attempt there. Tara is going to be using that melee. Remember, the melee does attack a multitude of anyone in front and applies that passive for Phoenix. Can be very strong. Milan going to find Harvey. Headlock going to find Tara. Make that 2 as Vinny goes down as well, and OUG will get this point first.
And this is the tough part, I think, in terms of just overall stall potential from 100 Thieves on these type of maps. If you have, pop both strategist ultimates, and then after all of that, you don't have anything to combat the side of Ganbei on Captain America with the capo, with the Freedom Charge, it's tough because you can't really just extend that fight out. You're going to be losing it no matter what. Vinny's trying to come back through with the Meteor M, but does not have Terra to follow up with a combo, so something just kind of happened there for 100 Thieves. Now this next fight, they're going to be at a slight disadvantage in terms of tick rate, but we'll see what OUG does against the Ultimates because 100 Thieves obviously have that edge.
We've had this conversation over the past few weeks, but might as well mention it again. When you have point early in domination, it is an insane advantage. The game now becomes, how long can I stall on point to get enough percentage to make it a one-fight game? Milan going to find Vinny early, and that is a scary pick in the neutral. Another huge advantage here for OUG, who are looking like Hulk instead of Bruce Banner right now from map 1 as Taro Cookie finds Terra. Delana going to get a trade, but it doesn't matter as another falls as Harvey goes down from Taro Cookie, and OUG are stepping their game up at 50%.
Yeah, they're doing really well right now on the comeback as well as with the point control. Oh no, a late ult from TTK as well. I mean, they could try to win this here with both Stratus ultimates and a portal coming through from Vinny, but it's going to be a tough fight because OUG just needs to kind of weather the storm. We'll see if they can. They've already lost Headlock.
60%, 70 is where it becomes a dangerous game. Terra finds one, numbers in their favor, but just barely as they come through the portal. Out goes the invisible boundary. And that's a copy there from Zhao as we see a couple ults ready. Ult advantage here for OUG. Could they take this fight back? Not with Terra. Find Zhao that early though, and that's a good start here for 100 Thieves, who needs to get this point captured. 75% now, getting even more dangerous. Eventually, the portal will not have a chance, but excuse me, the portal has been used already by Vinny. 3-minute cooldown will not come back unless this stall is wild. Delena gonna find Svald. TTK on the Molan, and that should be enough to give them the point, but at this point, it is definitely a one-fight game for OUG.
Yeah, and that's the hard part of domination that we've always talked about, Shib. I mean, everybody will mention how the first team to cap the point can just stall forever because of how strong strategists are in this game, and especially for OUG because of how many, peel options they have with Hetlaw on the Magneto, with Gonbei on the Captain America, with the shields on top of the ultimate. So because of all of that peel job, it makes it a lot easier to kind of hold on to that point and get all the way up to 79%. So that took 100 Thieves so much time. We'll see if they can hold on to the objective at this point as they don't have that portal cooldown.
Yeah, and one thing I didn't like there from OUG, and we could speak to this, it's all about decision-making, which is very difficult, and at this level of play, it's everything, but they committed a lot of ultimates in that fight, being down numbers, and that's not going to allow them to just make this a one-fight game. Now ults are going to be back in 100 Thieves' favor. Sometimes it's worth just losing the point for a bit and committing a full-team ult fight on the next go, but instead they elected to use everything to try to take it back and not even give 100 Thieves the chance, and that was not the right decision at that time. Down goes one, Gonbei, gonna find Terra, and that's a huge start. Up we go again with the end song. Does it find value? Gonna wait it out a little bit. Bang! Onto the back line! Down goes Harvey! Terra looking different. Headlock gonna find Millennia. Beautiful play again on the OUG, who do not need ults, but 100 Thieves have not committed 3 that they were holding on to, looking to come back and make that change here, but they are at 70%. I think this is a good decision. Look, they held on. They were down in numbers, and all 3 held on. Oh, Vinny had to make a switch there. It's a little bit difficult, but we do still have ults for Terra and Delena, which is enough to potentially win this.
Did Gonbei try to pick off Delena? They spawn camp Delena as well. I mean, that's huge. 90% of the board. Milan going to come back through. And oh no, what even happened there? Because earlier on, Gonbei swapped over the Dark Strange, got picked off by Delena, who went far deep into the spawn. But this is going to be an overtime fight now as OUG in control of the objective.
Molan, that was a Molan diff, if I'm being honest. Delena tried to push up, got picked, tried to ult, and still got picked while wasting ult. So that is tough to see if you're looking for 100 Thieves here. Molan gonna pop that all into the back line. We will see the dance floor out to keep the team healthy from Millennia. Harvey now has a visible boundary to hold on, so strategist ults will keep them alive for now. There is some movement with the Phoenix up. It does not find value, so 100 Thieves now up in ults. Will they be able to take this great movement, great kiting, which we talked about yesterday? Again, invisible boundary up, and they are seeing the meteor gets deflected! Back Terra, gonna find Molan! Wow! Vinny, well done, beautiful! Reflect there as they hold on. Svaldo finds Millennia, headlock onto Harvey. It is not done yet. 100 Thieves needs to use these ults successfully. They're gonna hold on with Cap, the freedom charge. Oh, T's ticking, you gotta make sure you're on the point. They're back. They're still holding on as Taro Cookie now is looking for an angle. Zhao is gonna find Delena, and that could be enough here for the win on OUG. They gotta make a play now. TTK playing around the shield, dancing, buying time, but it's not gonna be enough as OUG makes this 1-1.
1-1 indeed, but now we go over to the next round, Shib, on Krakoa, which will be Carousel. And I think the reason why 100 Thieves lost that map is because of the fact that Loki is so strong on that round. I mean, on the Grove, with the waterfalls and all the high ground we saw, Delena was spending like half the fight breaking Loki clones. When we go to the previous map, when we head to the more open round, it's a lot harder, I think, for Lokis to live. But there's actually an interesting spot that I've not seen utilized yet, Shib, when you go to the top of the map on that round, on the first one we saw, and just to kind of hide. But now that we go over to Carousel with the dragons and stuff, I don't know, where do you think the Lokis, do they have an advantage with the Loki here? Because you go to the high grounds, right? Because Loki can sometimes change if you win an entire map or not.
Yeah, I think Loki is very strong in this next map, too, because you do have those off-angle heights behind, which she'll have a view of point, and then you have the second floor on both sides of the point. The dragon obviously complicates things. I don't think it obstructs view at all for Loki. Granted, it's going to be playing closer with each clone, but you can have one up in that distance, which is a free escape at any point if you turn. Still, though, I do think maybe not as effective as the last map, which has crazy peaks, and Loki through waterfall is unseeable. So
this, you're saying this one's a bit more still up for debate, basically. If it's going to actually dominate.
It's still playable for sure. I'm just curious. I want to see the clone placement and see if I was correct. See that second floor on left and right side there, and then directly, if you were to look behind us, folks, in the camera, you would have some height behind there. It's almost like a third story, which has an angle on point as well, but it does require you to play around a different. And they are playing up there, so I'm going to take 5 points here. Victory for me as we do press forward. Terra going to put some damage out, just start stacking those passes. Ganbei going to look for the back line. Out we go. Terra finds Molan, and that's a good combination there with Delena just putting a ton of damage out, dashing through and colliding as they're looking for this point early. 100 Thieves is angry, and they want this W, and that's a ton of damage, but it will not be enough. Good kiting there. Delena going to find Zhao, and that's a good stagger, buying them more time on point at 10%.
Yeah, that's the tough part of the Phoenix ult is you kind of have to pick your poison, right? Terra goes into the sky with the ultimate. Oh my, no, Deleno, you went too far, man. Going down into this upcoming fight, it's definitely scary. Luckily, Psylocke has the cooldowns to get back to the point, but he's going to be missing those for this upcoming fight. But as I was saying, waiting patiently to wait for his team to get in position to go for that dive, right? Terra, as soon as he lands, the team is there to follow up, making sure they're in position. Is his point out. Here comes the dance of butterflies from Milan.
And Headlot's going to find Harvey. Sval going to take out Millennia. Ganbei on a TTK and Headlot on a Vinny. And I'm going to say it, I do think that early pick was detrimental. Being down a number allows them to play hyper aggro. And I do think that's part of the mental game, right? Did get picked off near spawn from an off-angle aggressive push there by Molan. And I think maybe he got in his head a little bit, right? Like that's the part of the mental game of Marvel Rivals. You want to try to do it right back and pay the price for it. So not a good look. Got to bounce back here, but OUG, 4 ults on, heavy advantage. We're going to see 3 here, I believe, for 100 Thieves in the next fight, but will it be enough?
We'll see. I mean, this is the thing with Milan. I think he and Taro have that flexibility. Also, copying the Lunar Snow, going invisible shift. A lot of Loki players obviously do that, to sneak around, try to go for that copy onto the Lunar Snow. If they don't have a Luna on their team, to give themselves the best ultimate basically in the game in terms of the fate of the worlds. We'll see how this upcoming fight lasts. He's waiting for the last second to pop it. Now they go.
Yeah, Luna Q is insane. Molan gonna find TTK early, and they're not using too much Psych on line. 3 go out immediately as Headlot finds Millennia, and that's gonna be some value. Ganbei, Headlot, OUG wants this W, and they did not take that first map rightly. They just went right back and absolutely swept them. 100 Thieves will have ult advantage in the next fight, though. Things have to change. Momentum has shifted.
Again. And Delena again, man, just got picked off in that previous fight towards the end. So. Man, it's tough. Even though OUG used a lot of ultimates, losing Delena yet again is going to be brutal moving forward. 63% of the board. 100 Thieves still have ultimates ready to go, but that gives time for OUG to build up ultimates yet again, as they are pretty much a 3 ultimate battle versus 3 on the opposite side for 100 Thieves. At least it is a strategist ultimate in Harvey, but it's going to be back and forth again from the cap on Ganbei.
Yeah, I think, I almost thought Cap got caught before the ult went out. Terra going to find Molan early, and that's a nice start to this fight. Meteor M ready here for Vinny. Vinny playing aggro off we go with the Meteor M. Thank goodness the Dragon was not there, making life a little easier. Using that ult to their advantage. What a shot there by Vinny. TTK taking out Headlot's Vault goes down there by Vinny. Vinny finds 2 on a Taro Cookie. Vinny looking really good here on the Magneto as Terra cleans up Zhao. One thing I wanted to mention there from Zhao was when they had used that transform, when they used the copy, notice how they took that full maximum length before they used the ultimate, right? Because Luna is a very strong strategist in their own right, staying and using those cooldowns prior, using the crystal and using clap before you press ultimate, because when you press that ult, you do reset that timer, so make sure you use the abilities if you can first.
Absolutely, and between OUG and 100 Thieves, North America versus China, for the chance to continue on in the upper bracket. It's not out, obviously, if they lose it now, go to the lower bracket. For right now, here comes that early dance to the butterflies from Molan, getting Millennia.
Yeah, that is a good start here. Terra gonna find Molan right back, though. Numbers even down. 100 Thieves with ult advantage. They're just holding on. I can't believe they're doing this. Well played here. 100 Thieves and OUG looking like the same pace of play, looking very similar, very smooth. Who's gonna come out on top in this fight? Oh my goodness! TTK, Terra popping off together, and now the teleport from Molan. You're going to wait patiently until those reses come back and you fight as a team. That is how you use this portal. Do not get too aggressive. Remember, essentially the percentage on point is like a health bar. You can trade some of that resource to ensure you have a better chance at winning these fights.
Absolutely. Now they come out the high ground. They flip the 0.95% they could touch last second. Taro does have the ultimate ready to go to slam down into 100 Thieves. They have nothing in this fight besides pick potential from the likes of Terra, who has done it before.
And we start again, ult advantage for OUG in the final fight. They will have time to portal if somebody falls early, but will not if they fall as a team. And we do see some heavy push here, using Zhao to use that Luna, Fate of Both Worlds. There's that shield break as Headlot finds Millennia again with that combination. Molan onto Vinny, so difficult to handle. TTK goes down. Now they're just trying to stall with this invisible boundary, staying on point, but they find him. Delena still finds value, though. Will that be enough for the portal to come back and retake this point? That would be wild. It's definitely on the cards. You got to make sure you touch here with OT so the portal comes through. Will it happen? There's the touch there by Harvey, and that KO could be detrimental. Did you come in heavy, Harvey? Insane play to stay healthy there in that fight. Up go the crystals. The dunk lands, but not enough. Do a fair amount of damage as out goes Cap immediately here. for the side of Ganbei. Anybody's fight at this point. Sval with some good positioning. Out goes the invisible boundary now. Ult's being used across the board. TTK Terra, who gets the first pick? Molan does. That's going to be a nice setting of pace. Will they be able to follow up? They've got to stay on point, and they are. I don't know how this is happening. Harvey goes down, and that could be the swan song for map 1 as Ganbei. Taro finds Terra. Molan on the Millennia. We're almost rhyming here as the first game goes to OUG.
Few things towards the end there, Ship, as that first game, like you said, goes to China and OUG, and obviously they have the crowd backing them. Few things, man. They swapped over Vinny to the Rocket Raccoon last second as well when they came to the portal for the res. A lot of people like to play it like kind of like Adam Warlock res, almost like a pseudo comeback with the BRB. As that character obviously gives you that opportunity to come back, and you know he kind of tried to make things work on that. You know, some people are maybe wondering why you would do that. It definitely works for stall. I think it's a smart idea to do something along those lines. But for the likes of OUG, another reason why they won is because we talked about that Loki just looked absolutely dominant on the high ground constantly. It just even if you're not finding direct value on Loki in those situations, it's the pressure provided to the team, right? Because you saw that Delena having to commit both the dashes at the high ground to try to take him out. I mean, yes, he cleared the clones, but then falling back down to the team was him. And then also after that situation, unfortunately, Psylocke, her cooldowns are just so long. You're kind of out of the fight. Delena did kind of bring things back after he went for the Emma team up to take down like Taro, like we saw in the Phoenix. But unfortunately, a lot of those cooldowns were out for the side of Delena because of the pressure from Loki, and I think that was the reason why they won that map, man. There was just so much constant healing from him, and then also just the overall utilization of him was perfect, and I think their back line from OUG cannot be underestimated for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Zhao played flawlessly on the Loki, and that's going to be changed, I think, in the next map. But one thing we have to bring up is the fact that they missed a ban, and they banned characters that 100 Thieves. They missed a ban.
I forgot.
They banned heroes that 100 Thieves don't typically play. I mean, maybe they've been playing something different in scrims. There's plenty of time to learn a new hero pool, and these players have a hero ocean. It's almost impossible to ban them out, but that is tough. That is a tough look.
It was close. It was very close, and I think the only way, I guess, that you would potentially beat a composition like that is maybe with the triple res.
Sure.
Maybe you run out the Adam Warlock because they didn't ban Mantis against you. But OUG, maybe they've done their homework. Maybe they know that even with the Torch out of the lobby, even if they did play Torch, maybe the Torch is still better than how 100 Thieves play that triple res. Because, I mean, like you said earlier, like we were talking about, 100 Thieves not really that good of a triple res team. It's just not what they play.
It's not their comfort.
It's not, because they have somebody like Terra that we've talked to when we chilled in the hot tub last night with him. We were talking about how Terra is one of those guys that plays Bucky, plays Phoenix, a lot of those characters that does so much damage down range, like Punisher, like we've seen him do insane work on that hero. Obviously, we've seen him do well on Wolverine and on the likes of Iron Fist, but this guy, I think his heroes right now in the patch are still pretty solid, but man, that was just an incredible map, number 1. Don't know if they can maybe pull out something like the triple res composition later on.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not a comfort pick for them. It's definitely something they could play, but it's, you know, not pulling it out in that moment is wild to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, man. I don't know what the correct decision is for them. You definitely got to see a change of composition.
Well, you talked about it. I mean, you got to feel bad. Literally, they missed a ban and also banned a Torch, which you don't even really play that well. And then you still lost. Excuse me, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's ridiculous. That the fact that OUG, I think, has that flexibility. I watched. I had the pleasure of watching one of their scrims, and in that practice, I saw Terra and Mulan constantly change heroes. It was not just Milan on Psylocke like we saw today. Milan fantastic on Psylocke, but it was also Taro Cookie. Taro Cookie, maybe that hit scan guy, loves to play the Phoenix like we saw, but regardless, this team has incredible flexibility, and that's why they're so good, like we talked about earlier. Ship, taking a look at the stats from the board, what are you seeing off the rip, man? Is it just an incredible performance from the overall team? I mean, can you say something about maybe, like you said, with Zhao Zhang on that Loki? Was there anything phenomenal there, or was it pretty even across the board? I mean, it was down to the wire towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, the healing is insane there from Zhao, no doubt. And my eyes look over to Lena and Terra. Those final hits are insane. Hetla with 14, Mulan with 12. I mean, the duelist line on the side of 100 Thieves looking more clean, but it was difficult to see that in that game, right? Mulan obviously is 12. He was not a Vanguard, although you're seeing, you know, Strange just because of the switch at the end. And for those who do not play Strange, trust me, it is worth having Strange in the belt because you need to have that portal ready at any given moment. So we're looking here. Hetlot with the MVP, I think well-deserved there on the Magneto with 27 KOs.
Well, you talked about how the combination between Phoenix and Magneto is just so brutal, right? I mean, do you want to talk about that again? I think we've talked about it a few times, but the ability just with, I guess we don't have to talk about it too much, but because we've already mentioned before, just the ability with Phoenix to get rid of all of those shields, and then Hetlock coming through with the Meteor M. It's that combination, and that's this game's biggest strength, I think, with Marvel Rivals, is the fact that everything is just so about coordination, right? And being able to play different compositions, being able to flex over, and I guess in OUG's case, not even caring about the fan phase. So just that ability to maybe not even really care what your opponent is doing and sort of force your own will upon them is definitely special, and that is an incredible performance from OUG. I think I'm impressed with how they did.
Yeah, I do think they utilized that combination of Hetlock with Taro Cookie using that Phoenix ult to follow up with the Meteor M. Like you talked about so well. I mean, that was great stuff there. I loved seeing that, but that was wild. I mean, it was just so consistent. Ganbei played great. We saw some Cap play. Taro and Milan, I showed them a lot of love, but I mean, final hits are very important. They just didn't look like they were getting as much. I do think there was that 1v1 there with Delena that kind of got into Lena's head, made some mistakes in that map. Maybe that changes things. If they had point earlier, I'm not quite sure, as it did give OUG some percentage on point, but Delena played lights out outside of that, at least in the final hit front. But those picks, you know, stats don't tell the whole story, right? I mean, those fights lost, although the stats are great, could have been the reason for the loss, and that's why it's so difficult to base a game, you know, as you look back and ladder off of stats, right? You have to go back and watch the story. You have to see how things shook out, because if you lose a fight, all that matters is the point, and that's why Triple Res, even though it doesn't always have the best stats, can win a round.
Absolutely. And as somebody, unfortunately, when we take back a look at 100 Thieves on that map, it's tough to call out individual players, because I think, like we saw when everybody talks about this game, it is a very team-oriented game. It's never one player that's the problem. It's always something happens, or, you know, the overall cohesion of the team is just not there, and that's the reason why maybe sometimes somebody gets picked or whatever may happen. Sometimes you're playing a little too aggressive. Maybe you thought something different would kind of happen. Maybe Delena, when he got picked off on that third round, maybe he just kind of went far forward thinking his team would back him up. So it's very easy to kind of get ahead.
You know, the comms.
Exactly. You know, and, you know, unfortunately, like, Delena just had a tough round for sure, tough map in general. And, you know, that doesn't come as necessarily a diss. Like, it's been, I guess,
his stats were lights out. So he was clearly a good player, right? Like, it's just, that's the difficult part. It's like we're saying, like, those mistakes could have lost in the game. It's that simple.
And the biggest thing, I think, when we take back a look at the game is that if we ever say, for example, if I ever, because I do this a lot.
No, it's a good point out. I like this.
Well, no, whenever I, you know, maybe say a player is bad or performing or underperforming or something along those lines, I don't mean it in a toxic way, because considering every single player here that is competing at Ignite, competing in the qualifiers, competing in the stages outside of this, that have competed over the course of the entire game, way better than I am.
Yeah.
And we're 100%. You're in Eternity. I'm constantly top of 100 in that range. We're both high-ranked players.
Exactly.
Could never reach this level.
Yeah.
Different level, for sure. And when we talk about Delena, I think saying he's not that good on Psylocke, that's not a slight per se necessarily, in that he's just the hero pool. It's very hard to reach its full potential, like we were talking about earlier. Delena, absolutely phenomenal. Namor, one of the best in the world. How can you get to that level on every single hero? It is not possible, except for a special few, like we saw with Milan on the opposite side, who was flexing very well. Same thing with Taro. Obviously, we'll see as the match goes on. As you know, we need the entire series. Luckily, today is a best out of 5. So because we have more maps to work with, I think we'll see a lot more in-depth banning going through as these teams sort of feel each other out. But the flexibility is going to show throughout an entire best out of 5. So Delena still has time to redeem himself, and like you said, still played well.
Yeah, he played great. Yeah.
He played great, but it's still
at certain maps, which is huge mistakes means playing bad. I see what you're saying. Like,
absolutely, 100%.
The thing I want to bring up is there's also the factor of just having a bad map, right? Like, I mean, or bad match, or a bad, like, on domination specific map, right? We talk about how those mistakes, it gets in your head. We had that, maybe that 1v1 diff, and then trying to do it right back and losing value. Those two mistakes being a bad play, but which kind of almost takes away from how good you've done the whole map, because
for sure.
You know how it is. It's tricky. It's a tricky conversation to have.
Oh yeah.
But I just wanted to back you up on the.
No, I will say. I mean, listen. I expect to be flamed a lot as a caster, considering as a player I hated every single caster. So it makes sense. It's normal. It's normal for players to obviously not like get slighted by a certain thing or something like that. I know Guru watching the stream had a similar thing with Solaris. So totally normal. And I think on that map too, not just it wasn't the fact that it's the reason why maybe to kind of combine everything and sort of give it a cap. The fact that on that first map we talked about how good Loki was.
Yeah.
That is a big reason why Delena was having a hard time, right? He was constantly having to deal with Loki clones and stuff, and the whole team was, right? The pressure that was provided from the Loki player, from Zhao, on the opposite side was absolutely amazing. I mean, that was phenomenal Loki play, and it just worked so well on that map, and it's tough that the 100 Thieves let that through in the ban phase.
Yeah, and as we're heading into the ban phase, speaking of, do you think if it ain't broke, don't fix it here for OUG, or are we going to see maybe them remove Phoenix or, maybe Psylocke now that they know they're more targeted picks?
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, like maybe they target that, but because they already know. The thing is, when we talk about flexibility and having to, play different heroes, if you don't have the triple res in your back pocket, man, I mean, that's such a huge hole right now.
Yeah.
We've seen every single team so far, if they have the Mantis available, if they have the Adam Warlock available, if they have Ultron available, play triple strategist. And the fact that you're not playing it feels a little bit like a mistake to me. The fact that even if you can't show it for a map, shows that you don't have a lot of confidence, I think, in that sort of composition. And I think you have to play it because it's such an important composition played in this current patch.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, but we do see a change here, and they're going to ban out the Loki again, ban out that Magneto, and lock in the Mag. They want to have that combination. It looks like we're going to see the Torch ban, Luna Snow lock on the side of 100 Thieves.
So that means Vinny's not going to be on that Magneto, or rather on... when he was playing the Magneto and TTK, going over to the Emma is definitely unique, like we talked about, like you said. I mean, that's just something that didn't happen before for the side of 100 Thieves. Having TTK mainly play the Magneto because he's so phenomenal at it. Now going over to the Emma Frost, having easier time with it. Now for 100 Thieves, maybe taking out some more similar heroes, getting rid of that Luna Snow. And the fact that, like you said, now they get to ban that Mag first. We see some different bans, I'm sure, going to come out from OUG towards the very end. And I mean, it's kind of worked in their favor. Now they've hidden one of their bans on the previous map as we move over to this next map on not Hall of the Jalia, on Bird of the Jalia.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that. It is like almost a free nether ban, and when you're already playing so aggressively and so confidently, it's just going to only help you
so
out.
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. They're going to get rid of Emma as well. That is a heavy frontline target. Getting rid of some of the strongest. It's matched right back. Oh, no, excuse me, as we do see the Magneto. It's not matched at all as the bans do switch here. So
that,
wild
exactly.
frontline change up here. We might actually see the Groot. We may see, I'm curious if they're going to do Venom, Strange.
Yeah, the Cloak and Dagger Protect is quite interesting, Shib. I mean, on the opposite side, we're getting rid of the Mantis, getting rid of the Luna Snow, getting rid of the Cloak and Dagger. But the fact that 100 Thieves may be prioritizing their backline a little bit is definitely crucial for the successes they think on this upcoming map, is because Cloak and Dagger can be pretty insane on this map. I mean, it's just sort of straight hallways, front-to-back compositions, and that's how Cloak and Dagger plays the best.
As we start up again, attack side, I do believe, is going to be 100 Thieves, who elected to pick that off the rip. And this is a fun map to watch. It does have some crazy angles for things like Loki in breakable positions of the map. Off-angle plays like crazy. We do know some high ground strength here for hit scan, so there's a lot on the table. So I'm curious what these compositions are going to look like as the entirety of the team. Again, they're going to allow Zhao to play that Loki. That is something that you and I don't think is probably the smart play.
Yeah, maybe not on this map, too. I mean, there's certain maps.
It's a very good Loki map.
Yeah, exactly. This is tough for 100 Thieves, I think, in terms of the ban phase, as we've talked about with the likes of Trust Me, right?
Yeah.
Trust Me, I think he has mentioned how Loki maybe has a lot of good maps, a lot of bad maps. Maybe this one we'll see how Loki does, but like you said, it's a very long-range map, and he can definitely succeed here.
As we start off the fight, high angle left side goes Taro. We see everybody all over the place here on defense as the portal play comes out for TTK. You know what? We had a discussion about how this strategy was very much a strategy used over the first few seasons, and it kind of fell off. Bringing it back is almost like a shock factor, so I love to see the portal play off the rip, but as I say that, Ganbei gonna find Millennia early, and that's a good start as Sval takes out Harvey. Sval gonna take out Terra. Ganbei on a Vinny. Taro onto Delena, and TTK falls to Molan. What a sweep there for OUG.
Yeah, that was clean, man, and we don't talk about Ganbei enough, I think. I think behind the scenes, we've heard a lot about how good he is. One of the best Captain American players in the world. At this point, Ganbei, we might as well call him Captain China. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal play, just little dives, doing it himself sometimes, animation canceling like that you talk about that I'm not even that familiar with because I don't even play that much Captain America, but Ganbei, I mean, plays that character to the peak.
Yeah, for those who maybe don't know, there is a sprint setting where you're on auto sprint every time you move forward, and if you actually melee, use that sprint by walking forward and melee, again, you can actually walk in between each melee attack. It'll reduce the amount of time that you have to use for each attack. So you try to build up that shield throw, you get shield throw, and it enables a whole other set of plays, but not enough time to walk through all of that. I'm sure there's plenty of guides out there. You want to be a Cap player, and trust me, Cap is very good. As Terra finds Molan, and their numbers are up here on attack, and that's a good start. You want to see number up, and now you play aggro, but Zhao going to have that all in. The copy sounded like it does go out. Keeping some damage out now. Delena going to hold the high side. Does have the dance of that butterfly. Taro going to drop Terra once again as out we go with the eye of Agamotto. Does that find value? Eyes are right back. And yes, Vinny is going to find Sval. Millennia on the headline as TTK gets some value there with the eye, which is not as frequently seen in this level of play.
No, and you're also stalling as well with Gombe back on the point, waiting for the teleport to come through from Headlock, so they still want to win this. Xiaolong on the backside, trying to live from Delena in the 1v1. Delena's able to take it out, but the portal will surely be available, I believe, from Headlock as he comes back through and gets that Loki back in the fight. So, Shiv, this one's going to be a long one.
And we begin again. The portal is there. Out goes the invisible boundary. The dance floor is matched. And they see the Phoenix land in. Doesn't seem like it gets too much as Vinny cleans up Sval, though. May have been a nice combination as we see Delena. Terra. Zhao falls. Terra again on the headlock. Well played again with this Phoenix. That melee on Phoenix we discussed last time. Incredibly impactful. And you can actually animation cancel that as well with the flight. So you'll see that rotation. It looks like they're almost doing a flip in the sky. Kind of like a kick there from Cloak and Dagger. When you see that, just know that they're meleeing for days. And typically that will happen on a strategist ultimate because you can apply that passive very quickly.
Yeah, and this is the difficulty with losing Xiaolong in that last fight early on to Delena. I mean, he was a guy keeping your point alive after Gombe's ultimate was gone. Just fall back on the point, kind of keeping everybody sustained. So 100 Thieves, fantastic work to get the job done on that first point. We'll see how they can continue in the street space. Molan on Wolverine with an ultimate. Oh my goodness.
Sval going to clean up Terra there, and that's what you want to see on the start from Molan, looking for a tackle up and high. Gombe takes out Millennia, but at this point, you just don't want to commit too much here on the side of 100 Thieves or OUG. The fight is in your favor here for OUG, so just own that space and reset as a team. Terra on 100 Thieves close to Ultimate. Harvey as well. Delena and Vinny with TTK. That is going to be a scary next fight, but matched almost right back by Zhao, Hetlot, and Taro. Soon to be Sval. Whoever gets that strat out quickly or whoever can find a strat in this fight will have the advantage. It's all about, as we see the Eternal Bond early on. Do they find value through it? Sometimes you can find the Meteor M. Does not land just yet with the Phoenix. Does it get value? No. And Song Inferno does not. Delena going to use that dance of the Cutterfly, but they are stacking. It doesn't matter. Taro goes down. Vinny going to clean up Hetlot. And Delena, just a ton of damage cleaned up there with the team. Although you can stack, and it does help diversify that damage a bit. If your team is coordinated, that burst of damage in and of itself is enough to find value. And at this level of play, that is how you play Cylon.
Absolutely. But this series, this match right now between 100 Thieves and OUG is a little bit messy, I think, on both sides. The fact that so many ultimates are committed and not able to find elimination through cycling ultimates to combine them is definitely a tough look. But we'll see how it continues in this upcoming fight as 100 Thieves have an advantage and continue on to the streets phase towards the end of the map.
You know what? I'm loving this video on Cap play. It's looking very clean. Millennia going to use that Fate of Both Worlds. And once again, folks, Millennia, a flex player, willing to play strategist for this team if need be. And it is working on this map so far. But Taro finds one off Terra from the tackle of Olan with the last stand. Again, we see, oh my God, I thought it was going to be a pick, but it does not. They will try to clean up. The strategist start doing a little dance there. And at this point, they will stagger. Forced off point there from the invisible boundary. Oh my goodness, leading right back with an Eternal Bind. Does it hold on? Down goes Molan now as Delena finds this fight. And I did not expect to turn this around so quickly.
Here's the decay coming to the back line.
Huge setup.
Pushed away though by the Invisible Woman.
Oh my goodness, and is anti on HP there. That was a dangerous position to be in. Gombe takes out TTK. Millennia falls too. 100 Thieves crumbling right now. I do think it was too quick of a re-engage. They didn't need to force it that fast. They used a ton of ultimates, and it bit them in the butt.
Absolutely. I mean, Sval right there saving the team. TTK over the high ground, came up on that skin. I wonder if the skin's a little bit louder than other skins too, when that Doctor Strange, you know, the new skin that came out with him and, you know, changes sort of some of the sound effects, but he's floating up top, and Sval very well aware of that, pushed them away, keeping them afloat in the streets phase of the map. 50 seconds left to go in the second phase. We'll see how 100 Thieves does. I mean, they have ultimates right now, but OUG's backline, I think they are phenomenal. This is some of the best strategist play we've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a great call on the last map. I really do think they always get slept on in ladder, you know, and everybody can attest to that, and they always take the blame, but Very clean play, just no mistakes here. So patient, and they do have ults again for OUG, heavily up in ult advantage. That's a tackle from Olan again, followed up by Ganbei. And you just see that back and forth consistently. Beautiful play. I'm not sure why they're not pulling out the Wolf 2. I know it's a little more difficult here with the competition they are running.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, they're against the Invisible Woman on the opposite side. Milan is not against it. That's the reason this is kind of working. Unfortunately for 100 Thieves, they need to swap somebody over to that hero. Oh, Portal coming out. Milan trying to kidnap. Can't get it, actually, so he gets it off. And they're going to come back through the point in overtime.
Yeah, I don't think their strategy is lying, and that could be the fault of just having a flex player in that role, right? It could make things more difficult, and that's that conversation we were having initially. Vinny going to find Molan early, and that's a good start here for 100 Thieves, who are really looking to get this second point. It's a very difficult point to push through. The combination again from Headlot onto Millennia. Just an absolute savage. Always finding that combo. Out we go with the eye. It does land on a few, but can they follow up? I don't see much now, as Vinny is going to pop that cap, and we will see them press forward. Fald's going to find TTK, though. Numbers up in the advantage of OUG now with a spawn advantage. It's all about getting back here. Unfortunately, having that cap out, or that strange out, needs to portal back. Already had used it, I believe. So they will have to force the walk. Delena, though, on Asphalt. Is that going to be enough to give them this point? Delena with a second, and that is huge. Delena showing up in this moment. That should give them the opportunity. But remember, the res is much closer here for the side of OUG. As the fight proceeds, crystals get popped. Delena with 4 now, just shoving this in on their own, saying, I'm going to do this by myself. Make that 5, as they do get point 2.
This is exactly what Delena needed to do, Shib. I mean, that was phenomenal play from him. Delena turning into him on this map. And with 1 minute and 17 seconds left to go right now, 100 Thieves, they have to continue this pressure, this phenomenal push from them. And OUG on their side, right? I mean, you would think because they have the Invisible Woman and stuff, they would have the peel. But in this case, Fald going down early to Delena, finding those openings earlier on. And that's exactly what you want to see as we are entering an incredibly intense last fight of the game here. 1 minute left to go in the third phase. Milan, though, with the ultimate ready to go. I mean, he's been huge every single time. Opposite side, Terra comes down with an ultimate in a moment just to live.
And we start up again. Milan ready with this last stand. Delena going to find a pick again. Delena is unstoppable right now, finding value, but you know that last stand can shift the tides of everything. And this map, with that shadow, is threatening. Up we go with the Wolverine. Milan still playing patiently. Does not have passive, though, and that requires him to play a totally different game. Remember, when you have Wolverine's passive, it does give you that iframe for a moment with some additional HP, giving you the chance to pop off and play aggro. But right now, we have to wait for the perfect moment. Out we go with the Eternal Bond, and we are going to see Q's pop for days here for OUG, who are up with every single ultimate. Headlock going to find Millennia. Out we go with that last stand. Does it get a does not get a pick yet. We are going to see Q's pop as Taro. Cookies up in the sky. Spald now going to use the invisible boundary. Vinny going to try to keep the team healthy. TTK with the eye. Will it land? It does not. It does get a few, but Crystals get out.